Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker. This is The Rick Walker Show. I'm flying solo tonight. Brendan Kennedy is off, but I do have a special treat for everyone as we prepare to cover this weekend's biker rally, Rolling Thunder protest demonstration, or however you would choose to describe it. We do have a reporter up in Ottawa for this weekend. One of your favorites. I know that a lot of you have been missing her. Carla Olson will be on with us during this broadcast, and will be bringing us live video throughout the weekend where she's back up there, and we'll be practicing our new form of journalism here on the Maverick News channel. And I can't wait to get her back on the show tonight, where she will be sharing her observations and her comments and setting the stage, I guess, or giving us the lay of the land as the Freedom Weekend, as they're describing it, begins to unfold. And with that, let's take you up there right now and get you some live footage from the scene. This is downtown Ottawa tonight, where people have started to roll in to the downtown area. Some motorcycles were seen in the downtown area today. Some people have been seen walking around carrying Canadian flags. But this is just a brief prelude of things to come. Police have essentially set up an exclusion zone where no trucks, no motorcycles, no vehicles, no cars, no vehicles of any kind will be permitted to enter this weekend. As you can see, it's fairly uneventful, but there's a barricade right there, a police cruiser. We know that Ottawa police have called in over 800 RCMP officers to act as reinforcements as they prepare for this weekend. They, of course, are vowing that they will not have a repeat of the truckers' convoy, Freedom Convoy, that we saw a couple of months ago. And there you have some patriotic Canadians carrying Canadian flags. And I would say this weekend, everything leading up to this weekend, has been a little bit confusing because it's been called many things. A protest, the organizer, who, with this, I guess he says he's the organizer, it's Neil, says that this weekend was not a protest, but it sort of was a protest. In any event, the mayor of, you can see that there are people down here right now. The first of many events just beginning to unfold here, scheduled for 6 p.m. tonight. We have officers on motorcycles. Live streamers are there, bringing this event to the world, and the world is watching. And that in itself is extremely important, because there has been so much, well, there have been honestly just so many outright lies. It looks like some mainstream media types walking down the street right there. But we've just seen outright lies from the mainstream media as it relates to what happened back in February with the Freedom Convoy and the truckers, which really inspired other similar events around the world. So now, as I understand it, this is a People's Party of Canada march, a PPC march, I believe, which is scheduled to begin here at 6 p.m. So they're just gearing up for that right now. But I think what we'll do is actually we'll just pull out of this for the moment, because I'd like to queue up, if I still have it here for you, I believe I do, an interview with Ottawa's mayor, Jim Watson, which ran on the government political channel CPAC just a short time ago. And the mayor gives us his setup for what's about to unfold this weekend in the nation's capital.
And joining me now for what the residents of Ottawa can expect to see this weekend is the mayor of Ottawa, Jim Watson. Thank you for being with us on Primetime Politics.
My pleasure. Thanks for the invitation, Mark.
So let's talk about what's happening this weekend with this Rolling Thunder rally. What are you expecting to see?
Well, we're expecting to see a lot of motorcycles. It will be loud. We're going to do our very best to control where they can and can't go. They're not going to be allowed anywhere near the parliamentary precinct. Certainly Wellington Street in front of Parliament Hill will be blocked off for all vehicles. They can walk up on the hill and have their rally and shout and scream all they want. But we'll also have our hate crimes unit monitoring what's going on. If we see examples of hate crimes being committed, those people will be charged. So we're not.
And this is why I wanted to run this. He's smearing these people before they even arrive. He's characterizing them, framing this whole thing in a negative light, casting these people as all the people up there for this rally as terrible people, Nazis, racists, just by saying that they have their hate crimes people up there. They're looking for hate crimes, looking for them. This guy, he needs help.
Giving warnings or slaps on the wrist. This is the public of Ottawa are fed up with what happened during the convoy.
Yeah, well, we're pretty fed up with you too, Jim. Really. This kind of language, uncalled for. What he's doing is wrong. It's just wrong.
We have to do a better job, and I feel much more confident that our city response and the police response to this convoy will be better. And with these things, as you know, Mark, you can't count on something to go perfectly smooth, because there are people now coming from other parts of Ontario in cars and trucks, not just motorcycles. But the same rules will apply. If they want to get a $200 ticket and have their car impounded or their motorcycle impounded, they'll park in a no stopping zone. So we've circled the whole area of the hill. We've got more police officers out in residential neighborhoods, because those people, quite frankly, many of them are still dealing with the aftermath of the horn honking 24 hours a day for 3.5 weeks during the truck convoy.
Yeah, and obviously there's been a lot more preparation this time around. And are you confident that there's a much better plan in place than last time around, when it seemed to catch everybody off guard? And there was a period where I think residents of Ottawa, and indeed people across the country, felt like the police and others were kind of on their back foot.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I think we're much better organized. I have much greater confidence that
the guy doing the interview is obviously on side with the mayor, shares the same view, or at least he's sucking up to him.
This plan that we put in place is going to work because we have the resources ahead of time. As you know, we worked very hard to try to get officers from the RCMP and the OPP. It took longer than we wanted to, and then we're able to move in with the truck convoy. And when we did, it was over basically Friday, Saturday, and wrapped up on Sunday. It was done very well. No injuries, serious injuries, no deaths. This time, just a few days ago, we swore in, I believe, 300 members of the RCMP as peace officers. We give them the power to arrest and deal with local issues here. And we have a large contingent of OPP, RCMP, as well as other municipal police forces. I know I saw York Region Police Car downtown just this morning, as a matter of fact.
So are you seeing a higher level of cooperation from other levels of government on this time around?
I just got off the phone with the federal minister of public safety, and Marco and I had a good conversation. They've been very good partners. They're going to cover our costs of about $36.5 million that we incurred at the city of Ottawa for the truckers convoy. And there's going to be another bill coming from this one because these people are here to protest. I think they're here to protest federal government policy, not the city of Ottawa. But that's one of the strange things about this protest. I can't figure out what they're fighting for. They want to take back the cenotaph. Well, the cenotaph was never taken from them. It's always been open and accessible. We put a fence around it.
Not true. By putting that fence around, which he's just about to talk about, they did take that cenotaph away from the people. And the veterans during the truckers convoy, the Freedom Convoy with the truckers before, the veterans who were there on site went back and took that fence down. And the police stood back and finally let them because the veterans were there in numbers. And they basically took that cenotaph back for the people. And more importantly, for the veterans. Because that whole narrative about the War Memorial being desecrated was a load of bunk. The veterans knew it. Everybody knew it. It was just another fabricated lie from the mainstream media and these fascistic, communistic politicians like this mayor from Ottawa. He's a sad, sad man.
Because people were urinating and defecating.
That is not true.
And dancing on the tomb of the unknown soldier. That kind of behavior is not acceptable.
One person stood on the steps of that. We saw the video. We showed you the video. Turned, yelled out the word freedom, rocked back and forth while she did it, and then stepped down off the steps. That's what happened. There was never any evidence shown of urination, defecation, and there was never any other evidence shown ever of anyone dancing on the tomb of the unknown soldier beyond what we showed you on that video. He is full of crap.
And I think, what happened in February, really the public were disgusted with some of the activities, putting posters around the Terry Fox statue, urinating at the cenotaph, dancing on the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Lies. We showed you the video. If that's true, show us. Show us the evidence. You don't have it. That's just a lie. They just keep saying these things over and over again, and it's a lie. It's just a plain, straight up lie. In fact, I'm not sure, but I think the girl accused of dancing on the memorial, I think they dropped the charges against her. I'll have to check that. I could be wrong, but I do recall something about that. So we'll check on that for you, but this guy's a liar.
Soldier taking food away from a local soup kitchen.
Also a lie.
The Byward Market. And we're going to have a much greater police presence in and around those neighborhoods, Centertown and Lowertown, Sandy Hill, Byward Market, so that people understand that if you start seeing 4 or 5 of these motorcycles revving up.
That's the desecration, supposedly, of the Terry Fox monument. They put a flag on him, a Canadian flag, like a cape. And then because people freaked out, they took the flag off, and then they put flowers down around his feet. That was the desecration of the Terry Fox monument. Again, media fabrication, complete crap. This guy, he's dangerous.
They're going to be told to leave residential communities, and if they park illegally, and if it's a no stopping zone, we have the legal authority to impound the car, and that's a pretty expensive bill for someone who owns a motorcycle to get a couple $100 impound fee.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts about the future? And do you feel, and I know you've been around Ottawa for a long time and know that there were times when you could drive your car onto Parliament Hill where
That's right.
you could drive your car under the National Defence Headquarters. It feels like we're in a different chapter now in terms of the parliamentary precinct.
Of course we are, because the country is run by a bunch of authoritarians, including this guy.
Should we expect in the future that we're going to see these kinds of demonstrations, and do we need to be prepared for that to happen on a fairly frequent basis in the future?
I'm afraid that is going to be the case. In Toronto, I was watching a press conference with the chief of police in Toronto and indicated there are going to be 14 different rallies of various sorts, big ones, small ones, all over different parts of Toronto. These things are not only disruptive, they can be dangerous, and they're very expensive. And so we're going to have to be prepared. Obviously, as the nation's capital, we're used to protests. As you know, Mark, we probably have 700 or 800 protests, most of them relatively small. You don't hear a lot about them. They go up on the hill, they have some placards, and they leave. The big difference with the convoy, of course, they arrive, they block streets, they started putting up, temporary structures and hot tubs and everything else, and they just weren't going to leave. Well, the police have been told loud and clear by the chief, you see any kind of permanent or semi-permanent structure that they're building or hauling up a barbecue or a hot tub, they're going to be confiscated and taken away, because we're not going to have that happen again for a second time. It turned it into sort of a carnival atmosphere. This convoy a few months ago, people in our community are still suffering the ramifications of being kept awake for 3.5 weeks with honking horns. And so we know that, a lot of motorists.
The horn honking did not continue that long. There was a court injunction and an agreement, and the truckers stopped honking their horns. So that's also an untruth.
Cycles can be very, very loud. We've mapped out a route for them to take that will keep them away from Parliament Hill, and then they can do their loop and then go back onto the 417. And our desire is to see them leave on Sunday.
Of course it is. You don't want them there at all. You want them to leave. What a joke. What a joke. This guy's a joke. What a joke. That's the mayor of Ottawa, Jim Watson. You want to know why there are so many protests? It's because there are problems. You wouldn't have people out protesting if you didn't have these authoritarians putting their boots on people's necks. We're living in a country where ordinary Canadians are afraid of police now. The only violence that came out of the truckers' convoy came from the cops. We showed you the video, the raw video. We'll show you raw video this weekend from Carla and from others. Let's go back to some raw footage right now, live from Ottawa. There it is. This is what's going on down there right now. These are the people Jim Watson is afraid of. He's afraid of you. And as I sat and thought about this, or actually I was laying, I do a lot of my thinking late at night while I fall off to sleep when it's quiet. And you know what occurred to me? The cops, especially the Ottawa cops, but the cops that they call up here to collect their overtime. You know what they are? The politicians and the bureaucrats, but the politicians mostly, the government, they've turned them into Antifa with badges. That's what they are. That's what they've done. You think about it. All of this stuff, it's politically motivated. All of the reaction to this the way they treat these protesters versus Black Lives Matter protesters. There's another protest, a counter protest of some kind, planned for tomorrow. It's the not welcome protest, I think is what they're calling it. I could have the name just slightly off. But yeah, there's another protest just a short distance from Parliament Hill, a party of some kind. And the message apparently is, go home. We don't want you here. And it's become fairly apparent to me that what the government has done is they have taken the brown shirts of today, which is the Antifa movement, and they've kind of moved that entire, like I said, they've turned the cops into an authorized enforcement arm of the government with a political mission. And that's to crack down on protesters that the government doesn't like. If you were down there in Parliament Hill this weekend with a message that the government approved of, you'd be getting an entirely different treatment. And we've seen it time and time again. There is a double standard at play. This is complete crap. Do these people look like they are violent? Do they look like they are a threat? I don't think so. You see any Nazi flags? The mayor of Ottawa is a disgusting human being. He should resign. So should the police chief. Carla Olson will be joining us a little bit later in the broadcast. She'll give us her take. She'll be going into the downtown. She'll be gathering video for us this weekend. And we will be taking phone calls shortly from our Maverick family, from our viewers. So stay tuned, because we're looking forward to having you engage in this conversation tonight. We have a lot of other news stories to cover for you tonight. We do have a little bit to talk about with regard to the situation in Ukraine and now Russia, where attacks have now been launched against targets on Russian soil. This is a very, very troublesome development, so we're going to be talking about that briefly. And Carla did say that the Eternal Flame is on, and there it is for you. She did just message me and told me that, and now you see the video of it, so we appreciate her updating us on that. So there's lots to talk about tonight, lots to show you. This is the scene down in Ottawa tonight. The main events, of course, are tomorrow. So we're going to keep you updated through the weekend. And if we need to, we'll be dropping in with emergency broadcasts to keep you updated as the events in Ottawa unfold. Personally, I don't think there's going to be any trouble, because the people are always very well behaved. However, it's pretty clear the cops have positioned themselves to squeeze people down there. So I hope everyone stays peaceful. I hope everyone stays safe. Keep your heads screwed on straight. Whatever the cops throw at you, folks, just take it. That's all you can do. And then shower them with love.
This is Ottawa, and we're here in downtown Ottawa live.
So there you go. That's the stage set. We'll be right back after this brief message.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
You can support our work by going to freedomreporters.com. You can also click the hot links in the YouTube, Facebook, Rumble descriptions, and that will take you right to the donation page. We do need your help. We are incurring expenses to bring you this coverage. And we need funding to keep the lights on. We are expanding our coverage out. Of course, we are on Rumble now. We're also on BitChute with rebroadcasts, and we are now doing test live streams on Odyssey, where we will be live streaming in the days ahead as well. So we'll be adding that platform, and our website is also just about ready to roll out. So we're working on all of that. And as I say, it costs us money to do a lot of these things that we're doing. We have other plans to do other kinds of coverage. Brendan is working on some projects, and sending Carla up to Ottawa also is an expense. And if you'd like to help us with our coverage of events like this Rolling Thunder Biker Rally in Ottawa this weekend, please donate to freedomreporters.com. freedomreporters.com. That's where you can support our work as independent journalists practicing a new form of journalism here on the Maverick News Channel. And again, a live feed out of Ottawa tonight, where things are just beginning to gear up for this weekend's Freedom Weekend, I think they're now calling it. At least I saw one post on Facebook with some graphics. It looked like sort of a poster with a schedule laid out. So, I mean, you've got the biker thing, which is Rolling Thunder, but then there are other events scheduled for the weekend as well, making this a full weekend of activities, at least for tonight and for tomorrow. The big event tomorrow, of course, is the bikers who will be conducting their convoy or cruise, and then people will be making their way down to the War Memorial to lay a wreath. And the organizers say that the purpose is to essentially, as you heard the mayor of Ottawa talk about it, to reclaim that War Memorial, the cenotaph for the people, after having the government and the cops put a fence around it during the truckers' convoy. And again, I'm going to repeat it again because it's so disgusting. Every time I hear that lie, saying that people were urinating and defecating on that cenotaph, at no time did we ever see that, nor did we see any evidence of that. There is no evidence because it didn't happen. That was just a straight up lie. And yes, they are taking the cenotaph back for the people. And the only flags we're seeing here again tonight are Canadian flags. I see some U.S. flags. Flags of patriotism, national pride, love. To suggest otherwise, to suggest that there's a Quebec flag, to suggest that you're going to see flags of hate down there. We know what happened during the truckers' rally. 2 flags were seen, And we know that neither one was being flown by people involved in the Freedom Convoy the last time people were down there. And the cops can come down there in force and beat the crap out of people like they did when the Freedom Convoy was there. But look what you have now. You just have people coming back because the problems haven't been solved. They haven't even addressed the real problems. In fact, now you have more problems. You just have more problems. Now they have an inquiry into the use of the Emergencies Act, which I think is largely a sham. But we'll be talking more about that in the days ahead. And I think we have a special interview lined up for next week to talk about that and some of the procedures and legalities surrounding it all and what it really means and what we can really expect to come out of that. So we'll be getting into that in more depth next week, and it is important. And again, I think the world will be watching Ottawa this weekend, and the world will be watching to see what happens with that inquiry into the use of the Emergencies Act, which was Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister, declaring war on his own people using that federal legislation to declare martial law in response to that truckers' freedom rally that we saw back in February. Now, we do have other news to discuss tonight. Something I'd like to bring up and draw attention to is Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby held a news conference, answered media questions, and his words, I think, were pretty important. We're seeing serious escalation in the Russia-Ukraine conflict because it isn't really a Russia-Ukraine conflict. This is a proxy war. The United States and NATO, they're using Ukraine. They're fighting this war with Russia through Ukraine. Anyway, here's the Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby. Let's listen to what he has to say, and then we'll comment.
For you on Mr. Putin himself, is it still the Pentagon's assessment that he's being deceived by his advisors? And also, have you seen any signs of growing dissension in either important government ranks in Russia or from Russian elites to his actions in Ukraine?
It's not entirely clear how truthful the information is that Mr. Putin is getting. We did have some indications earlier that he wasn't necessarily getting an accurate picture. I can't update you on that. I don't know what his briefings are like and who's briefing him and what information he's getting. Clearly, he messages. Anyway, I can't speak for what's in his head, but he's messaging that that he is going to achieve military outcomes in the Donbass and in the south, specifically the Donbass, and he's got some bizarre messaging about Nazis in Ukraine, and he's got even more bizarre messaging about how this is the United States versus Russia or the West versus Russia. It's not. Russia's the aggressor. They're the ones that started this war in Ukraine. But how much information he gets that's informing some of these ridiculous claims, I can't say. I'm sorry, you had another question, didn't you?
So here he is denying that Russians or that Nazi battalions exist in Ukraine. Again, asserting that it's basically a lie or a myth or whatever. We've shown you proof positive that these Nazi battalions like the Azov battalion exist. Not only that they exist, but that they have a lot of power within Ukraine politically. And that they have a sympathizer in Canada's Deputy Prime Minister, Chrystia Freeland. Not only that, we're going to show you that CTV News has even acknowledged now the existence of Nazi battalions in Ukraine. And they, CTV News now, mainstream media, is expressing concerns about it. We've been telling you about it from the beginning. This guy's still denying it. He's just plain lying. And we'll show you that.
Just basically any dissent from important government.
Nothing that we can speak to or that we've seen. What we have seen are continued indications at lower levels in the army of poor morale, discouragement, lack of unit cohesion. I mean, this is an army that, writ large, across the entire Russian army, is about 40% conscripts, and they've just now put a bunch more fresh conscripts into the fight. And what we're seeing is, you know, they tend to have high morale going in. First contact with the enemy, that morale is shattered, and so we continue to see problems at the unit level. Anecdotally, I can't say every single unit, but anecdotally, some unit cohesion issues that they still haven't been able to solve. But at the senior levels, I just don't have any information to speak to that. Phil,
Putting aside whether you agree with his logic, do you believe that Putin is a rational actor?
I'm not a psychologist. Barely got a history degree from the University of South Florida. I'm not going to go into the psychology of Vladimir Putin. It's hard to look at what he's doing in Ukraine, what his forces are doing in Ukraine, and think that any ethical, moral individual could justify that. It's difficult to look at the It's difficult to look at some of the images and imagine that any well-thinking, serious, mature leader would do that. So I can't talk to his psychology, but I think we can all speak to his depravity. Barbara.
I want to follow up on that exactly. You've just used a series of words that I don't think we have heard you specifically use before. Depravity, ridiculous, bizarre, belligerent. You may not be a psychiatrist, but what are you telling the world right now today by standing up here and saying these things? What is the sense in this government of Putin? You have just, and you've been in the military a long time, you've seen a lot. You don't usually publicly react to these very difficult images. You've used extraordinary words here today, starting with depravity. What does this government think Vladimir Putin's mental state is, physical state, psychological state? What something's leading you today to use these series of words?
I can't speak for the entire U.S. government. I speak for the Defense Department, and I didn't mean to get emotional. I apologize for that. I don't want to make this about me, but I've been around the military a long, long time, and I've known friends who didn't make it back. It's just hard. It's hard for all of you, particularly you. You all have people there who are seeing this and bringing these images back. It's just difficult to look at that, and it's hard to square his, let's just call it what it is, his BS. That this is about Nazism in Ukraine, and it's about protecting Russians in Ukraine, and it's about defending Russian national interests when none of them were threatened by Ukraine. It's hard to square that rhetoric by what he's actually doing inside Ukraine to innocent people, shot in the back of the head, hands tied behind their backs, women, pregnant women being killed, hospitals being bombed. I mean,
it's not true. Since 2014, 16,000 people in the areas that have been seeking independence, separation from Ukraine, have been targeted by Zelensky's forces and killed. 16,000. So what he's telling you is also not true, because he, as a press secretary, is trying to create or paint a picture for you that is entirely black and white. Good versus evil. His side's pure, the other side's evil.
I mean, it's just unconscionable. And
I don't think his emotional state is an accident or was a moment where he lost his composure. It was intentional. He's trying to push people's emotional buttons because they're trying to sell this war.
don't know. I don't have the mental capacity to understand how you connect those two things. It's just beyond me. But I'm just a spokesman, Barb. I'm not qualified to make an assessment one way or the other. And I do apologize for injecting my personal perspective here.
You are very professional on this podium and nothing else. But can you tell us, can you just peel one layer back if possible? The U.S. government, military intelligence always has assessments on foreign leaders. This is a known fact. Is there anything you can tell us that you might be able to share to help people understand what is Putin's state of mind?
I think, look,
They want him to say he's crazy.
Again, I'm not a psychological expert. I'm not going to
A madman, a megalomaniac.
Individual intelligence assessments. I think we're certainly working under an assumption that Mr. Putin was capable of pursuing what he believed Russia's national interest to be with cold steel and with brutal determination. I think we all understood that. I don't think we fully appreciated the degree to which he would visit that kind of violence and cruelty and, as I said, depravity on innocent people, on non-combatants, on civilians, with such utter disregard for the lives he was taking, the lives he was flinging into refuge. I mean, there's not even an attempt by Russia to be precise in their targeting, even if
that's also a lie. We've seen that the Russians actually went in soft, and as a result, they suffered some pretty serious losses of their own. They didn't go in hard. And we also know, because we've seen the orders saying that they weren't supposed to target civilians, but it's the US, NATO countries sending in all these weapons and encouraging civilians, including foreign civilians, to go in and fight. So they've been arming civilians, complicating matters in there. And we've also seen battalions like the Azov battalion operating from residential areas and even hospitals, which then makes those locations targets. He's not being truthful.
Even if you could find your way to getting to rationalize what he's doing, which is, of course, unacceptable. But let's just say, hypothetically, you could get yourself to a point where you believed this war was justified. You can't look at the way he's prosecuting it, and his forces are prosecuting it, and come to a conclusion that he's doing it in a justified manner.
No, just when the U.S. goes into a place like Iraq, they just bomb the hell out of everything, level entire cities. Whatever's there is just decimated, and then they roll in with tanks.
it's
It's a totally different approach.
it's brutality of the coldest and most depraved sort, and I don't know that I could do it any better than that. Barb, I'm not qualified at this podium to talk about those kinds of things. I think we as an administration, we have made clear that this war is not about regime change. This is about helping Ukraine defend itself. Jen.
John, are we witnessing a genocide?
That is
$33 billion more. Joe Biden is planning on sending over there in military aid and humanitarian aid. About $13 billion in humanitarian aid. The rest, military weapons. Let's go to Terry, our first caller of the night from Edmonton. I just have to bring Terry up in the feed here, and then we can get Terry's thoughts. Just one moment while we bring Terry online with us. Right there. Good evening, Terry. Can you hear us?
Hello, Rick. It's actually Gary.
Oh, Gary.
I guess I didn't speak clearly enough.
That's okay. Just the call screening system.
But, that's all good. Yeah. What would you like to talk about? I mean, there's a lot talking about a lot here tonight. So
yeah. Friday night, and the world's on fire.
That's right. But yeah, I think I basically called because of the whole, the bikers going to Ottawa this weekend.
Right. What are your thoughts?
I'm just like, my thoughts are, I think everybody's going to be just fine, because I think once again, God's going to be watching out for everybody. And that's why it was so powerful and peaceful.
Yeah.
And, I've had, we've talked before, and I've had many great experiences, over the last couple of weeks and stuff. But I think the most important thing that I've learned about this is whatever it is we're doing, you can label it, you can so call it this or that, but we're certainly doing the right thing. And I heard a really interesting story from one of the original truckers that was in Ottawa. He was one of the first people, if not the first person, to be at the second half. He got there before anybody else was there. And he told me an interesting story. They were, of course, the trucks would be honking their big horns and stuff, and everybody would be, you get used to that. You'd hear these sounds, right?
Yeah.
And but later on, the guys, they were relaxing or warming up in their trucks, getting into somebody's truck where it's warm, because it was minus 30 or something like that. But they were noticing that they'd turn off the radios, they turn off everything, and they could hear horns, but they weren't horns like the ones you'd hear from trucks or cars or like that. It sounded like these trumpets, like angelic trumpets. And they were just looking at each other, he said, and they were just like smiling and just feeling like it was just a sign, like they had something they had God on their side. And it really is amazing sometimes. Like I was really scared when some of the stuff we would talk about, Rick. I'd put on a good big upper, stiff upper lip and just, okay, well, this is pretty scary, but let's talk about it. But more I see this, the less scared I am. I think that we're just going to have to just keep doing the right thing, and things will work out. I pray that there's not any violence there. I know it's not going to be violence from the bikers, right? I know that for a fact, that there's not going to be any. Everybody's far too intelligent and a lot more involved than the Honorable Prime Minister would think. And there's a lot more culture. said some pretty slanderous things that back in the 1800s, there might have been some different things going on, you know. But we've all evolved to the point where that's irrelevant and unnecessary. I just hope that start to see some foreign national spy agency stuff happening, directed towards us in our own country, like subcontracted and stuff. And I hope that doesn't happen, because those guys, when they play games, they can get really dirty, right?
Yeah.
You know that, Rick.
Yes.
So, but yeah, so what, I don't know.
Are you so you're optimistic? You don't think this is going to, I'm sort of with you. I think this weekend will just turn out to be sort of, how can I put it? I just don't think there are going to be any major incidents, because I think the cops know that they went too far the last time. I think the politicians know they did as well. So even though they've been using all this tough talk, which I don't like at all, and even though they're still smearing people, I think that they know enough to sort of back off a bit. And there was never any plan this time to go down there and park and sort of stake a claim, if you will, or make a stand for an extended period in front of Parliament Hill. That was never the plan for this weekend. That's not what's going to happen. And the last time they clearly said that's what they were going to do. They were going to come and stay and not leave until the mandates were lifted. This time they're saying we're coming, we're going to lay a wreath and have a little ceremony, and then we're going to leave. And we've seen other events added to this for the weekend, but it's all scheduled out. And I think people will just come and do their thing, and then they'll probably all go home. I'm just worried, though, because the media's down there looking for something. The politicians have everybody jacked up. The cops are out there in full force. They're taking an aggressive stand on this stuff. So it's only going to take one cop or one person, to fight back or do something stupid. And then a lot of positive ground could be lost, right? So that's my concern.
Yeah, I understand that. I feel the same way. I just don't, I think that sometimes you just have to just trust that things are going to go the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, you have to still do what you have to do. And that's why it's so sad these days. There's so many people that are spiritually totally lost. I mean, if all you're thinking about is, buying things all the time and it becomes really, really sad, that's all you got to live for. And so if people would start remembering what's important, which is fellowship and community, I think.
Do you have any thoughts tonight, Gary, on what's going on in Ukraine and what we just talked about?
Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah. Oh, it's just disgusting what's going on there. I mean, we only hear one side that sounds just crazy all the time. They're trying to make it look like, that the unprovoked attack. I mean, you've hit a few key words, key phrases that they keep using over and over again in this mass hypnosis thing. And I think a lot of people are coming around to that, though. Hey, and people are asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you got this guy pantomiming and doing all this crazy little psychological hand tricks and using key phrases. We don't know for sure what's going on, but from what I've seen, it seems to me like that it's exactly what everybody's been saying, what you and a lot of other people have been saying, that, Americans kind of set up too close to, they wanted to have nuclear weapons in Ukraine. I mean, so that starts that starts everything off, right? That's not unprovoked anymore.
And what we've seen just in the last few
And
days, and even today, we've seen the Russians telling NATO and the United States that they need to back off, because we've now seen that there have been attacks launched on targets inside Russia now by Ukrainian forces using NATO supplied weapons. This is why it's so dangerous, because this war has now spilled over from Ukraine into Russia. Apparently, there were some military vehicles set on fire in Moscow today, and there were some other targets that were attacked along the border of Ukraine and Russia. This is spilling over.
Wow.
Now, so here's the question. If we're supplying the weapons and the financing and even helping to organize reinforcements coming in to bolster the Ukrainian fighting forces by sending people or allowing people to go, right? If, let's face it, we're heavily involved. We're pretending we're hands off. We're just supplying some weapons to a sovereign state. That's the tack that we're taking, right?
Yeah.
And then when they're attacking Russia, we're saying, well, it's not really us. And then in the next breath, I see that we're saying today that they're complaining because Russia is attacking the weapons shipments coming in. As they're coming into Ukraine, Russia is blowing the stuff up. And they're saying, well, that's not right. You shouldn't be doing that.
Oh, come on. He told everybody that's what he's going to do.
Well,
I remember them, at least they let that through. I mean, I remember the media saying that he would say that he had said that any of those, that they would be targeted en route.
So what did they expect him to do? Just let the weapons come in so that they can use them? If I were in his shoes and they were sending weapons in to a neighboring country and you knew I'd blow them up too before they got to use them. Just like, if you go to war with somebody, the strategy is always going to be to blow up their planes on the runway before they can get them in the air, if you can.
Well, I know. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's just clown behavior. Oh, you can't do that. I mean, come on. That's hilarious.
I mean, I'm not trying to stick up for Putin. It is a sovereign nation. It's not something, but this whole thing didn't have to happen. The U.S., NATO, Canada, they're still not talking about negotiations or any kind of a settlement here.
No, it went right from the clamp down in Ottawa right to Ukraine.
Yeah.
And then that's been the focus. And now when I walk down the street, I see some people wearing masks. I see some people flying Canadian flags. I see some people flying Ukrainian flags. I see some people really being really intricate with it, like pretty cool. Like you're probably more used to seeing people dressed like that in Toronto. You know what I mean? Like people with like really cool hair. But I've been seeing lots of just different statements. But it's and then geez, I see a lot of people also wearing crosses now, or walking down the street playing music like that's like spiritual music kind of stuff, and from all different people too. So there's hope in the air. I just hope that people in Ukraine. I just feel so sorry for them. I feel one of my good friends, his mother just passed away. She was terminally ill and actually requested the whatchamacallit, the
assisted suicide.
I guess you can call it that.
Yeah, assisted death.
Yeah, assisted death. Let's call it that. In that regard, I think for sure. But so he's Ukrainian. They're a big Ukrainian family. They're beautiful people. Okay, like big families. They all play instruments. You know what I mean? Like it's not like everybody dances. When they're when they get together, it's just such great people. And I just know, like, there's so many people like that in Ukraine that are just don't have any say at all in what's going on here, and don't want anything to do with, Nazis or, and they've been dealing with that stuff for years.
Yeah.
There's been lots of stuff going on there. Yep.
Yeah.
Shelling in their own towns, their own cities sometimes.
Yep.
So,
well, Gary, we're going to move on because we've got calls stacking up here. Again,
good. I'm glad you got more.
Yeah, really, really great to talk to you. Thank you for calling in. Always great to talk to you. So really appreciate that.
Thanks so much, Rich. Rick, you're doing lots. You're doing a good job. You got a big heart.
You too, my friend. It's always good to talk to you. Take care. Talk to you again. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay, let's move on here now. I'm not sure, there's no name on the screen, so I'm not sure who we have, but it's someone who'd like to talk about freedom for the U.S. and Canada. Who do we have?
Hi.
Hi, how are you tonight?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Just fine. Who are we speaking with, and where are you calling from?
You're speaking with Al from Miami Beach. We've spoken before.
Ah, well, welcome back.
No, the idea of the war, that it's becoming more and more evident every day that, they've been lying to us, obviously.
Yes.
And that we might not want to be in that war, considering what we're really fighting for. That's one point. The other point is that, on the other hand, there are many positive things happening for freedom now. And one of them is this weekend in Ottawa that I would like for you to comment on, up to date now. And the other one is that the woke world is dying in many fronts. And many of us are so incredibly happy about that. Those of us who are freedom fighters, of course. So I bid you a good night, and good night to all your listeners, and God bless you.
Well, thank you for calling in, Al. All I can say really is I can just kind of repeat what was said before. I agree with you. I think that in many respects we're being lied to about what's happening in Ukraine. They're telling us there are no Nazis there, and yet right now, today, we're seeing this. I'm just going to bring this up before we get to our next caller. I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about. Even the mainstream media now, they're acknowledging that Nazis are in Ukraine, mounting evidence on this CTV news site, my former employer, mounting evidence, Canada trained Ukrainian extremists. Government needs to be held to account, say experts. Well, we've been telling you this since before the invasion began, right here on this program, trying to tell Canadians that there are Nazis in Ukraine with ties that go all the way back to World War II and the Nazis out of Germany. And now these Nazi battalions have been rolled into and integrated into the Ukrainian military. And we've told you that Canadian forces have helped to train these battalions, and the weapons we are sending are ending up in the hands sometimes of these Nazi battalions. And here's this story, and it's lengthy, and there's more motivation behind this than just exposing this. Okay, there are some groups like groups in Canada and the United States concerned about history and the Holocaust, and they're aware of all of this history. And a lot of people are uncomfortable with our government supporting a war that is using Nazi battalions. This is not as cut and dried and black and white as they're making it out to be. And to have the press secretary for the Pentagon, John Kirby, sit there and again deny the existence of Nazis in Ukraine is just disingenuous. Just like his tears today, or almost tears, his emotional breakdown. The press secretary for the Pentagon has an emotional breakdown because of images that he's seen in the media of the war, as though you're not going to see death in war. The Canadian military said they were alarmed in this report, it says, by the report, and denied any knowledge that extremists had taken part in training, adding that it does not have the mandate to screen the soldiers they train from other countries. Yeah, they didn't know. Right. And if they did, they just kind of conveniently turned a blind eye. We know that NATO has been training forces in Ukraine and that they basically are NATO integratable forces in Ukraine. This is why Putin has been so concerned. I'm just showing you this story. Here's a picture right here of these Nazi soldiers from the Azov Regiment, which is one of the most effective, highly trained, deadly battalions. There's a photo of them with Canadian soldiers behind them. These are the Canadian soldiers that were involved in training Ukrainian forces. There's a photograph for you. There's a Canadian flag on the arm of that soldier right there. You can see it clearly. At least I can. I don't know how big it is on your screen. And these are all Canadian uniforms in the back. They're full of crap. When they tell you there are no Nazis there, they're lying to you. And they're taking our tax dollars. Here's another Nazi soldier from Ukraine at a parade. Again, from the Azov battalion. They're not being truthful with us. I'm not comfortable with it. I don't like it. I think it's a big problem. But they, again, for these guys running these wars and funneling money to whoever it is they're funneling it to, they've lost their moral compass. I think we lost our moral compass a long time ago on the leadership side. But Canadians need to be aware. We're drawing it to your attention, and now even the mainstream media is chiming in on it. Finally, as they should have before. But it's a little late now because the weapons are already over there, right? And again, I'm not trying to defend Putin and what he's done, but man, this is not as simple as they're making it out to be. Simple as that. Let's move on here and speak with Tony.
Hello.
Hello, Tony. How are you
Hi,
tonight?
Rick. Brendan. Well,
Brendan.
You got me back again on the air.
Welcome back.
You got me back again on the. Well, I was going to start with the Rolling Thunder biker convoy to Ottawa, but I think I'll start instead with the Ukraine.
Sure.
And just prior to the invasion of Ukraine by Putin and the Russians, I was rereading a book I bought a couple of years ago, Stalingrad by Anthony Beaver. It was an amazing account of Stalingrad. And my point is that the Russians play a grinding, wear down the enemy type of fighting. And I'm just wondering if they haven't sent their best units in yet, and they're just baiting the Ukrainians into a death trap in eastern Ukraine. And my other point is regarding Ukraine. All this money we're funneling into Ukraine, how much of it's going to wind up in Zelensky and other high-level officials' Swiss bank accounts?
We've already seen that they don't even know where a lot of these weapons are ending up or where they will end up after this war is over.
They'll probably be sold on the black market.
Yes. And you're absolutely right.
And I just think they're just again, like I said a couple of weeks ago, where are the peace initiatives? Where's the UN? Where's anybody saying, let's get these negotiations going? Because, like I say, the Russians play a grinding type of fighting skills, and the Ukrainians might be sucked into a real bear trap in the eastern Ukraine.
I think the truth is that the war has not gone as well for the Ukrainians as the media is leading us to believe. I think that the Western media and our governments would like to see this thing prolonged so they can keep on dumping money into the weapons manufacturers, the weapons companies, and just keep this thing rolling.
Follow the money.
Yeah, and
follow the money. Yeah.
But I think the reality is this war is further along than we've been told. From everything I've been trying to, that I've been able to sort of research just by going online, because I'm obviously not there. But we're not being told an accurate story. This is not going well for the Ukrainians, and I think that Russia has already laid claim to large portions of the country, and it will be probably carved up in the end.
Oh yes.
And you're right. I mean, the first thing and the most important thing we should be doing is finding a way to get people to a negotiating table so that lives can be saved by bringing this whole thing to a conclusion as quickly as possible.
Well, it's the innocents that get killed first in the war.
Yeah.
And if the Western, the mainstream media is claiming that the Ukrainians, if that's victory, I hate to see what defeat looks like. But my other point is, I was going to go to my second point about the biker Rolling Thunder.
Sure.
I wish them well. I hope they achieve their objectives, Rick and Brendan, but I can't help but feel in the pit of my stomach that there might be a bear trap set for them. Mm-hmm. I don't know what your feelings on that are, or you guys' feelings are on that, but I just got a sinking feeling that there's a bit, well, the fact that they're calling in all those extra police sort of confirms my suspicion.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what your view on that.
I do agree with you. I've been saying it all week. It is a situation where they'd love.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed a lot of your shows this week.
Yeah,
unavoidable. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I've been sort of laying that out. That's my concern. I think the media and the politicians who view these bikers and middle class, hardworking Canadians essentially as who they're targeting. They view them as the enemy, and they'd love nothing more than to have even just one incident where they can show video on television of a big burly biker with a beard. Probably they'll pick somebody who fits a particular cliched image and show that guy being arrested for whatever, and then paint that person as a white supremacist, Nazi, racist, misogynist, just pick your smear, add it to the list. And that's what they're looking for.
Well, the problem, Rick, with big protests is that there's anonymity in large crowds. Mm-hmm. So certain ne'er-do-wells can sneak in and tarnish the whole, the rest of the people.
That's what they did. They sent in those moles, and they had one guy carrying around that Nazi flag. He wasn't even at the protest during the truckers rally, right?
Yeah.
Before. And there was another guy with a Confederate flag. So they made a big deal out of that. And actually the people on site there told the guy to get lost. And we showed you the video of the people telling that guy to take a hike because he wasn't with them. He was down there. Obviously, both of those incidents were clearly plants designed to discredit and smear the protest. And I don't be surprised if it happens again this weekend. And then the mayor comes on here today. We've seen it with the police chief yesterday, where they say, we're going to be looking for hate crimes. And if anybody's caught with a Nazi flag, they will be arrested. Well,
in Washington, D.C. on January 6th last year, there were Antifa types that had snuck in as well. I'm sure there was agents, provocateurs that had snuck in, and because that was a really large crowd, and I'm sure there's a lot of evidence pointing that they did sneak in and cause problems. made them look even worse than, of course, the media always slants it one way, of course.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that the mayor of Ottawa and the police chief really think that the people coming down there this weekend, do they really think that they're a bunch of Nazis, fascists, racists?
Hell's Angels.
Yeah. Is that what do you really think that they think that?
No, I think that's deep down, they don't think that at all. I think they just use that because they know they've got the media on their side, mainstream media.
So why do you think that they,
and unfortunately,
why do you think that they do that? Because, you know, it's so disgusting. I think it's just, it's the worst possible things that you could call somebody, right?
Well, let's look at who we're dealing with. We got a bunch of, like you said the other night, I did see last night, left-wing lunatics. Let's call them what they are, communists.
Yeah.
And anybody who should be called Nazis is that when you look at the video of how they put down the truckers, those guys would not look out of sort in that Azov battalion. Some of them.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you agree with me or not on that, but they looked almost like they were happy to be, you know, rolling out the billy sticks and roughing up people, you know.
Yeah.
I would like to see them, how tough they would be in the Ukraine against the Russians. You know, I'm sure they'd have to change their depends, most of them.
That's the funny thing. You know, we showed those Canadian soldiers in the meeting where they were training the Azov battalion soldiers, right? The truth is those Azov guys, they're probably some of the toughest, most effective fighters in the world. They're battle hardened, experienced. I think that they probably were teaching the Canadians a thing or two. I think it's a joke to actually be sending our guys over there to train them, because those other guys, the Ukrainian soldiers, they're battle hardened. And
yeah. Well, I was going to say, Rick, do you remember the airborne regiment we used to have, and they got rid of it because they were a little too, our Canadian military found them a little too, you know, radical in their view. Yeah, aggressive, hyper aggressive. But Rick, I wanted to roll, and Brendan, I wanted to roll on. I don't know if you guys ever followed Michael Savage, Dr. Michael Savage,
yeah, I do
of the USC, and Rush Limbaugh.
Yep.
He and Rush Limbaugh were kind of like the fathers of conservative talk radio. Rush was a few years before Dr. Savage, who started in 1994. But Dr. Savage, he only does he's 80 years old now, so he did a couple podcasts a week. And he had this Rebecca Koffler, who was an intelligence agent. She was born in Russia, but immigrated to the United States. And she had a lot of insight into Putin's mind. She said he's not, his faculties are all there. He knows exactly what he's doing. And she said her current counterpart in her foreign position, she used to be in the White House as a security intelligence officer. As a matter of fact, she's still bound by, she can't say some things. Her current counterpart in the Biden administration, she says she doesn't know anything. She doesn't even know what a no-fly zone is. And she says she's really not that bright.
That's right.
And, you know, my whole point is that this Biden administration, it's a nightmare. Like, they really got a lot of incompetent people.
They really do. And that's why I'm so worried about seeing these attacks now on Russian soil, because this thing is escalating. We are clearly involved. We are using this as a proxy war. We are fighting Russia. We are at war with Russia. Let's face it, we are. We're just using Ukrainian soldiers to fight it for us. And as this thing unfolds and escalates, we're so close to a nuclear conflict, it's not even funny. This is so dangerous. And now that they've actually launched attacks on Russian soil, if this thing goes any further, we're in a lot of trouble, folks. That's why I'm trying to highlight that here tonight. Even though we have all this stuff unfolding in Ottawa, I think the story in Ukraine is really that much more important. We do need to move on, though, Tony, because we've got you go ahead quickly, but we've got Reese waiting in the wings here.
Well, I was just going to say is that China is definitely has an alliance with Russia. So that's what That's what really frightens me.
Yeah.
Those two together, we're in deep trouble. Anyways, thanks very much for letting me speak, guys.
Oh, thank you for calling in again.
Bye
It's
now.
always a pleasure. Thank you. A privilege to have you on. And we're going to move on. And as I say, we have Reese on the line now. Thank you for waiting. You've been on hold for quite a while.
It's okay, man. Like, trust me, Rick. I'm okay. Though, however, look, man, I'm not okay with what the heck is going to happen. And I agree with everything you and the previous caller just said. And I'm going to be clear. What you and the previous caller just said is absolutely mother freaking 700% right. Because of the corrupt, incompetent regime of Trudeau and Biden, we are in more deep shit than anything ever. And if we do not stop this maybe up closer coming nuclear war, we are fucked. It pisses me off, man. I'm so mad that I cannot even yell or scream right now. I want to scream, but I cannot. I just can't anymore. I'm done and fucking tired of dealing with these regimes controlling my taxpayer dollars and my family's and neighbors' taxpayer dollars and funding bullshit nonsense that completely means nothing. Literally, I agree. Critical race theory is so bullshit. I don't even know what that is. Why are they funding this stuff? And two, the main topic that I want to talk about tonight is what is happening in Ottawa right now. What I heard last night from your show in a few minutes of a clip. The police chief is a fugitive who must be arrested. The Trudeau regime is a nightmare. The Biden regime is a nightmare. And I'm so done. The West is a problem. We have to stop the West from doing this. If we don't, we're screwed. We're screwed.
It is scary.
There's no more time to beat around the bush. We must fight now or we will end up in a nuclear war and there will be no coming back from it.
We're on the edge.
This
no
pisses
question
me off.
Yes.
Yes, we are on the edge, and we need to hurry the fuck up and get off of that edge of the cliff, or we will fall to our death in a ravine of rocks that are spiky as hell that will kill us at the bottom of it before it's too late. So the topic that I would like to talk about tonight is what is happening right now in Ottawa. Mm-hmm. Why is the police chief still saying this bullshit nonsense talking about safety? And they are literally fucking portraying lies about people who did nothing wrong. At the Freedom Convoy, no one was a Nazi. I even saw video clips myself.
Yeah.
The video clip showed the cops being the real Nazis, attacking people, trampling over an old lady with a horse.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of nonsense is that? You can't make that up. And they think that is just, it's misinformation and that the far right is responsible. What fucking bullshit are they talking about? Oh, wait, I know what it is. Fucking nonsense. They are liars and they continue to spew vile vitriol about what is really going on their side. They think the far right is a fringe minority. Well, guess what? The far lefties are a fringe minority who dare oppose the majority who have more power over them than they do over us. And that is a problem. They are a problem that must be dealt with. No more giving them any chances. When they fuck up one chance with me, I don't give nobody a chance. No chances after this one chance I give you. The far left, yep, they have got no chances left for me. I refuse to accept them. They are a problem. And the West, too. It has lost my respect. Officially done. The West is officially denounced by me, even though on God, I am a Black American, I don't care anymore because the West and Canada is a disgrace. with these regimes in charge. To all the viewers right now and Mr. Rick, do you agree that we must stop the far left right now before it's too late and we end up in a nuclear conflict with Russia? Yes or no?
Absolutely. We have to find a way.
Thank you, Mr. Rick. How about the viewers?
Well, let's see what the comments are coming in here.
Okay, so far I see Lon saying agree, and I see Maggie saying agree, and I say Par saying yo, hey, sir. And I say Scott saying yes, yes. I see Maggie saying yes. I see Par saying yep. Yep, exactly. Oh, and somebody said that some of the left, yes, see, I think he's copying me. Yep, some people are agreeing. See? Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, someone saying this guy, we need 1 million of them. Oh, thank you so much. See, I'm a guy who has common sense far more than anybody else in the world, because even though I'm not that heavily trying to like think of government stuff, when it starts to affect me and I start to notice it, I get pissed off. And as soon as I hear shit like this, I'm done. How can we stop the West from continuing this conflict? Even though I know now we are so close to the edge, how can we stop it?
I don't really have an easy answer, and I don't. It's been going on for so long. All I know is it's everyday people like you, like our viewers. It's middle class people. It's the people in Ukraine. It's just people, regular people that pay the heaviest price. We're the ones that are asked to send our sons and daughters into battle. We're the ones asked to pay for all of this, for all of their stupid games. We're the ones that pay.
So all
with
we
our
have
blood.
to do, Mr. Rick, so all that we have to do is not agree with it. All we have to do is say, up yours, and we're not funding this stuff. We should just take all of our money out of every single bank and never fund their bullshit games again. Never play their game. That is what they're doing. They're playing mind games. This is a game of chess. So professional that you cannot beat the number one player of chess in the world.
So do you think that what's going on in Ottawa right now with this Freedom Weekend, do you think that stuff is going to make a difference and have a positive impact? You know, I see a lot of people, they seem to want to get your comments on that in the comments here.
I think it is, though, however, I'm not sure entirely. Since everything that corrupt police motherfucker just said, he isn't playing any games. Yeah. If he is trying to silence a big majority of people who even live inside of that area, mind you, from having the right to do anything, fight back. Tell him the middle finger, and just say, fuck the cops. I cannot trust. So and just say, screw them. The cops cannot be trusted. As I said the last time, as I called, the cops are goons. Do not listen to them. When the goons continue to believe they have power over you, you need to stand up. Don't obey them. This is a regime in power who will not let you do anything. Fight back.
Well, I have to kind of pause there because and sort of take a different perspective, because I think that when the cops do get aggressive, I think the only thing people up there this weekend can or should do is just comply. If they're going to arrest you, just let them arrest you. Don't fight back. It's a fight that you really can't win. You must remain peaceful. And I think that the most effective weapon that we have is to remain peaceful and to spread love. That's all we can really do. If we get aggressive, they will use that. They will use that against us. So my advice is absolutely remain peaceful. Let any aggression or violence come from the government and police side. In the end, that will be that will be their undoing, as it will be even from what happened, I think, during the truckers' freedom rally.
Yes.
We're seeing that it's eroded public support for police and for the government.
Okay.
In many respects, and the harder they squeeze, the more aggressive they become.
Yes.
The more it just
Yes,
shows
sir.
people that we're on the right side of history.
Understood.
That's
yes,
what,
I understand everything that you said.
Because if it goes the
Yes, I
other way, there's
understand so much.
there's only two things that will happen.
Yes.
If the bikers, the protesters, people at the rally, if they become aggressive or violent at all, some people will be arrested, taken off to jail, becomes a big mess. It hurts our movement. They'll paint anybody arrested and the entire group actually as being a bunch of violent white supremacist, Nazi, misogynistic, just pick your pejorative insult. And or it escalates into a full-scale war, which we just can't have. We just can't go there.
Understood. Yep, I understand that for sure.
Yeah. So
yep, I understand that for sure.
So we have to take more of a Gandhi type approach and just remain peaceful.
Yes, sir.
That's what I think.
Yep. Yes, I understand that entirely.
I know it can be frustrating.
Like, I'm just so...
I know.
Yes, I'm just so fucking mad right now, man. I'm like, holy shit. The fact that we're funding this critical freaking nonsense here in the States, and then this so close to a nuclear, like, oh my God, this is just too far for me. Yeah. And I feel like as each day goes by, I feel like I just feel this guilt on me that if I don't do something about it, it's my fault.
Yeah. That's why we're here doing this broadcast tonight. You are doing something by calling in and participating. This is more important than a lot of people realize. What we're doing here right now, having this discussion, broadcasting it out, it's an information war. And if you think about it, the mayor of Ottawa, the police chief, these politicians, every time they go and have a news conference and they use those words like illegal protest or occupy, insurrection, right? They're fighting an information war from their side. When they insult the people coming to demonstrate this weekend by trying to portray them as violent, crazy nut bars, right? When they do that, that's also the information war. We're fighting back, and our most effective weapons are truth, love, and spreading that and spreading this information. That's why it's so vitally important. We can achieve more. You know, there's an old saying, right? The pen is mightier than the sword.
Yes.
Well, a broadcast like
this, I heard that.
Right? A broadcast like this has
sir.
much more power than a gun ever would. So we need to
understood,
but we need to be truthful and accurate without exception.
Exactly.
So you're doing a lot more tonight, my friend, than you realize just by calling in and participating in this. We're going to move on, though. I really appreciate you calling in tonight. We've got David and a couple of other calls waiting. But hey, you know what? You call back anytime, and I know you will. I know you will. You're becoming a regular on the show, and it's always a pleasure to have you on. You always have great things to say and share.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Rick. Hey, have a great night.
You too. You hang in there. It's all going to work out in the end because we are on the right side of history. We're going to win.
Yes, sir.
In the end, we will win.
Yep.
Thank you. Let's move on and talk to David. David, how are you tonight?
Doing good, Rick. How are you?
I'm pretty good tonight, actually. I'm feeling like things are going to be okay somehow. I'm not sure why, but I just have this little feeling of optimism, which is unusual around here, given all the stuff that's going on in the world. But how about you? What's on your mind? What are you thinking?
Well, I think you know, in the with the last caller, you really raised a good point. It now is not the time to become violent, and there's so many people in Canada, Ontario, elsewhere in the world, globally, that are getting so frustrated myself included, and I think you'll agree that the more control they're exerting on us nowadays, they're not even trying to hide it. It used to be subversive. I think Jordan B. Peterson used the metaphor, I'm going to push you, inch by inch, and you're not even going to realize it until you're a mile away, and you're going to say, how did I get here? They're not pushing inch by inch now. They're shoving.
Yep.
To use the metaphor, but I think it's important, as you said, to use peace and love, especially because there are so many more people now post Freedom Convoy who saw it. They caught them in the act. The establishment media.
Yep.
They caught them in the act. The politicians trying to look like heroes in a situation that didn't need a hero to swoop in and save anyone. More people have woken up. The only way you can bring others with us on this, I don't know, journey of truth, if we're going to call it that, the grand expose of the establishment, is to let some of these things play out, because more and more people are becoming aware, in a way, play out, but more and more people are becoming aware of the hand that's being played against us. Their cards are laid out straight on the table for everyone to see, and I think the frustration is really going to resonate both in the ballot box, but I think folks need to realize this goes all the way down from federal to provincial to regional and municipal matters. I believe that the deck of cards is going to get a good shuffle here this year with Ontario, and I think the House of Cards, sorry to use the cliche, but the House of Cards is going to begin to fall.
Yeah, largely I agree with you. I would say that and I've said this before on the program, I just don't think we can give them another inch. We have to stand our ground and just not give any more ground to them. So when you're confronted with someone who's trying to do something, you just have to at some point say, no more. We're not going to give you any more. I'm not changing what I'm going to say. I'm not going to change my language or, and I think,
completely agree.
And even this weekend, I expressed concern early on. I just don't want to see people either running into a spray of political bullets and sacrificing themselves. We've seen too much of that. So we need to get smart about things. We need to use more lawfare against them the way that they use lawfare against us. They pass crazy laws. We have to take those laws out using legal means by challenging that stuff. Trying to preserve the Constitution by challenging these unconstitutional laws. But it takes time and it takes money. And we need to not give any more ground, but we need to gain ground back. We need to take things back, like the Constitution, like the Charter. And I think that Charter either has to be rewritten or at least the notwithstanding clause taken out so that it can't be neutered, as we've seen, or we need a new, we need something new written and embedded into the Constitution so that our rights can never be taken away again. But
I agree wholeheartedly. I was watching something. I'm trying to think how long ago it was, but somebody was comparing the Charter of Rights and the Bill of Rights, and it is surprise. I didn't know this until a couple months ago. Someone pointed this out to me, but there is a significant difference in the Canadian Bill of Rights and the Canadian Charter of Rights. And now I've been telling people the Charter of Rights, in my humble opinion, the Charter is nothing more than a distraction document compared to the Bill of Rights, which existed previously and expressly says that we have certain unalienable rights in Canada. Whereas, as you mentioned, the notwithstanding clause in the Charter, it specifically says in the very first paragraph, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but in the very first paragraph, it says these rights can be taken away depending on the political climate in Canada.
Right.
But the Bill of Rights is unmodifiable, I guess you could say.
Well, there's
overrides
a problem
anything from the Charter.
There is a problem, though, and people are they have a false sense of security because of what is being said right now about the Bill of Rights. People are putting too much stock in it. This is the reason why.
Yeah.
And I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a constitutional scholar, but this is as I understand it. The Bill of Rights introduced by John Diefenbaker, I think it was 1964. It's a piece of legislation. And because it's just a piece of legislation, governments that came after Diefenbaker are not necessarily bound by it. There have been some legal precedents set based on the Bill of Rights, but it's a federal document and its scope is federal really only. It doesn't have much, if any, bearing over what happens at the provincial level. That's why the Charter of Rights and Freedoms was written and passed in 1984. That was to address the shortcomings of the Bill of Rights and take it into the provincial realm legally. But we've seen that document rendered pretty much useless because of that notwithstanding clause, which was an issue back in the early 80s during the negotiations between the feds and the provinces. The federal government, Trudeau Sr. at the time, wanted more power for the federal government, and they made sure that that was included in there because they knew what it meant. It meant that when this came along or something like this, all you have to do is declare an emergency and the charter is basically useless, which means you didn't have the rights to begin with because the government can take those rights away at any time they want. But with regard to the bill, with regard to the Bill of Rights, there are only a few really major cases. And I think there's one involving like a drunk guy at a bar. I think it might have been a First Nations guy. It was a kind of a crazy, weird legal case, but it's cases like that that actually reach in and touch the Bill of Rights. But people are saying, well, just don't mention the charter, just talk about the Bill of Rights. But the truth of the matter is that Bill 100, which was just passed, the Keep Ontario Open Act, that is a piece of provincial legislation which is really being used to do a permanent end run around the charter. And the Bill of Rights does not cover adequately the laws in Ontario. So now the cops under that new legislation, which they may test this weekend in Ottawa, which is a concern that I raised, they may use it as an opportunity for the first test cases using this new legislation where they can pull people over at random. They can charge you with a crime before you've even committed a crime because they think you might commit a crime, like go around a police barricade or take your vehicle downtown or engage in some sort of unlawful activity. They just have to think you might, and they can arrest you. They can confiscate your vehicle, take away your driver's license, charge you, fine you. They can even put you in jail, and there's no due process. I think it is an unconstitutional law.
It's quite disgusting how that's come about and got passed through Queen's Park. One of the things that I'm particularly concerned about, and I have to dig a little bit further into Bill 100 to see the way in which, if at all, they define certain clauses where they refer to things like critical infrastructure. Because depending on the local interpretation, say, of Ottawa City Council, depending on where the truckers are when they're the bikers, when they end up in a particular area where they have to slow down, and it ends up causing a traffic jam, for instance. Why? Because there's a large number of them. It is likely not intentional based on what we've been seeing so far. But now there's too many of them. It's blocking some traffic because of a traffic jam. Therefore, you're in violation of Bill 100. You're blocking critical infrastructure. We're now taking everyone's bikes. And I just think I'm speaking in extremes, but, I'm trying to get into Ontario politics. And of course, I need to look at the way that these laws could be interpreted in the extreme to use against individuals who had no intention in the least of violating something in the way a law was intended to be used. Now, I think you and I both know the way Bill 100 is intended to be used is as an anti-protest law and to assert more control and dominance without due process, as you say.
But I did point out yesterday, I think it was yesterday, that in one way we are winning because the police chief of Ottawa did acknowledge the people do have the right to protest. And you saw that from the mayor as well. And that's why they're letting people come back down there. They realize they really don't have any choice, even though they have Bill 100 passed. And they don't have a choice. And even though they cleared all those protesters out before by beating the crap out of them, they have to let the people come back. But that being said, they still have a lot of tools under that new legislation, like vehicle confiscation and the suspension of driver's licenses, etc. So, but at least they're acknowledging you do have the right to protest because the Emergencies Act isn't in place anymore. There are no mandates saying that, or government orders saying you can't protest because of the pandemic. So people can go outside and gather in groups again. So people, I think they realize that they've overreached, and they're only going to go so far this time. So we'll see. We'll see what happens this weekend.
I hope you're right. Yeah. Well, thank you for your time, Rick.
Thank you. Call back anytime. Great conversation. Excellent points. Really appreciate it. Let's move on. Take care. We've got somebody else wanting to talk about Rolling Thunder. I'm not sure who we have, but go ahead. What's on your mind tonight? John, how are you?
I'm watching about 5 or 6 feeds from Ottawa. It's crazy. There's riots down there.
Okay.
They're truckers. They're all in there. The big trucks, they're downtown. Cops are blocking the roads, like 2 or 3 rows of cops, yellow vests, not to let them go by.
Well,
and the
I lost
big
track of the
heavy
feed here.
bikers are coming in, knocking the cops over. There's scraps going.
Well, I appreciate you telling me that because I've
Unbelievable.
been so busy with the feed that I wasn't even looking at the monitor. But yeah, I do see a
And
big
also-
rally here. So let me bring that up, and we're going to get that on the air here for people to see as well.
Also the just outside Ottawa, private property. They're all gathering there. I seen the shed there. That big truck, the big the stage.
Yeah.
That truck's there. They got about 20 transports. They got trailers. It's a big party over there. Lots of land, and that's where they're gathering. Cops can't touch them. This is going to be around for a while. These guys are smart, man. This is going to be heavy duty stuff. Anyways.
Okay. Well, I'm going to bring up this feed, and we're going to show people what's going on. I appreciate you alerting me because I did have these feeds up.
It's violence. There's violence going on there. The cops are boxed. They're all coming in to box these truckers. Unbelievable. I'm watching war.
Well, I'm looking right
now.
I'm looking right now. I'm not seeing violence on the feeds that.
Go to war campaign and back it up a bit, and you'll see everything I've been talking to you about. War campaign. Very good coverage there. And the private property, if you want to see that, I got a bookmark here somewhere. They're all left. That was earlier on when they were gathering. Rebel News is down there. This guy, this guy here, tab 123. That's where they're gathering, and it looks like. I'm looking at that sign. Looks familiar, man.
I've got a feed coming up here for people to see right now. Here we go. Yeah. So here's our feed right there live. Well, I'm seeing a big crowd, and I'm seeing cops in yellow vests, but this is just it's downtown. Yeah, I see that. Well, I can't. I'm not controlling the camera. And we've got Carla down there. So Carla's going to be joining us live from the scene as well. She's down there. Right. Well, are you? But like, I'm not seeing violence here. Are you seeing violence? Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll get Carla to get us dialed in there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna pull in a live feed here from Carla, because I know that she's our reporter on site there, so we're gonna be able to get a feed from her coming out. I don't know. I'm gonna connect with her. Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Well, we're able to pull those feeds in right here to some degree, and that's what we're going to be doing for folks. So I appreciate you alerting us and letting me know, because I didn't realize that things had sort of erupted in the last 10 minutes or so. So yeah, so we'll keep people updated here the best we can. We're gonna I hope Carla is okay. I see that she's got a feed coming out, so yeah, yeah. I hear ya. I hear ya. Mm. Because they're never going to let it go. That's why. They're just never going to let it go. So here's Carla's feed right now. And you're right, there are trucks down there tonight.
You didn't change the gimbal? Oh, wait, was this the gimbal?
So what are you thinking? Do you think this is...
Well, this is an interesting spin. I honestly
here's
did
Carla.
not
Let's listen to what Carla has to say.
expect
Let's
this.
get her audio up.
Vehicles. I did not expect this. It's an interesting twist of events here.
Yeah.
So I'm walking down Rideau Street, past the Rideau Center, just passing by it right here.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's quite this line of vehicles. Wow. I do know there was a convoy of vehicles that were coming, to attend this weekend. I'm not sure how these vehicles got onto Rideau Street. I don't know
You-
any details.
Yeah,
I
do me a
am
favor. Will you? I
quite
just keep on.
surprised.
You keep on talking. I
And
need to.
here are the police
I need to
again.
make an adjustment
Wow.
to this one feed coming in from
So another
Carla to make sure we
standoff
don't
going on
lose
down
her.
here.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Here we go.
So I'm going to bring this up. I just need to pop off for like 60 seconds, and I'll be right back. Hang on just a second. You stay on the line.
Wow. Wow. Does this look familiar? Does this remind you of anything?
Fucking bitches.
You fucking hey, John, fucking pussies!
Man, come.
I can't
Here,
go over
I'll hold
it.
this.
You just hold it?
I got you.
How do you fucking sleep that night?
Too loud.
Ah!
Okay, so I'm back. I just needed to make sure we can get Carla's feed in there.
Glad you got it, 'cause I saw it happening, but
I caught the very last second, but I caught it. Shit!
Wow.
what does this remind you of?
Wow. Wow.
What is this? What is this happening? Does this look familiar? Does this look familiar to any of you? We're here to honor veterans.
You bunch of fucking stupid bullies. You guys little private, right? Sad. Embarrassing yourself. You should be. You should be. You guys little arms. Fucking nonsense. That's what you people are.
So this is footage live from our reporter on the scene, Carla Olson. This is her live feed here on the Maverick News channel.
Fucking pussies!
John is with us on the line. Are you worried about this, John? Do you think that it will... yeah, I think so.
No, they're not Ottawa police or local. No, I'm on the sidewalk.
Get off the road. Get onto the sidewalk. That's what they're saying. Get off the road. Get off the road. So the road is no longer a place where we are allowed to be. Get off the road.
Okay.
I'm like, hey, don't fucking touch me. That's my uniform.
Honestly, John, I didn't expect this weekend. I was worried this might happen.
This is ridiculous.
Don't you have to talk to me if I
But I didn't think it would, but it is. And I'm having trouble.
What are their
I'm having trouble
emergency
just from
orders?
this sort of figuring out exactly what is happening.
Occupation right now.
Oh, is that what they're doing? And a child.
veterans to come into their war memorial that they have a right to come to. They are not allowed to be withheld from going to their memorial, and you all have the ignorance to do that.
The kids want to know what real fucking heroes look like.
Yeah.
That's it, eh? These are our fucking neighbors.
Yeah, no, she did. Right here,
Probably go
this
to
one.
school
She pushed
together.
me.
Fucking
She
Ottawa
pushed you.
fucking
Yeah.
Another proud day.
Go up to the hill. Try to stop the violence.
So young. Her face is so young.
Your kids in the fucking eyes.
Guys, look at the age of these police officers. This is where indoctrination started in the education system. This is why. These are the kind of police officers we have today rather than the ones we had yesterday. This is it. This is what your education is buying. This is the indoctrinated.
The behind Carla's footage, according to Big Desta, coming in 20 at a time. I think he's referring to police.
I've had respect for
I think. I'm not sure.
not enough.
And here, whole bunch
all
of fake,
over a fucking vaccine, you dirty tyrant.
bunch of shame and a little bit of fear with those masks.
Feed froze up there. Hopefully she comes back. Yeah, it looks like
Jacko! Do you remember Jacko? Go on the sidewalk!
Criminal! Click on you to stop the bastard! You know you're fighting the one with the Nazis. Shame on you! Hey!
Let's bring John. I'm gonna dump out of this call with you. I appreciate you phoning. Yeah, we've got some other callers waiting here. Thank you, sir. You can call back anytime. Hi, Diane. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Hi, how are you tonight, Diane? Hi. It's okay. I'm just going to try and adjust this audio mix here a bit so we can hear you a little better. That's a bit better. So, are you watching this unfold? What are you thinking? Yeah. 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 Right. Yep. Yeah. It's strange how something that was supposed to be about our health has deteriorated into this confrontation tonight on the streets of Ottawa. It makes no sense from that perspective, really, if you think about it. Well, what I'm seeing from Carla's feed, she's our reporter down there. She's got a live feed coming in. We're seeing massive lineups of cops in yellow vests and riot gear, pushing the crowd back. People are taking video with their phones, shooting all this. Carla's saying that police are getting arrested. She'll tell you. Let's listen to her.
Honor veterans. I think the hope is that they will charge the crowd, and they want to make this crowd angry, and sadly I feel like they're starting to succeed. You know,
No,
because
that's right.
it's
You wouldn't
bringing
be able
back
to because of the way the feed is set up.
a lot of memories
She's saying
to everyone.
the audience
On
can.
that last
The audience can
weekend
hear her.
of the Freedom
She's saying that the
Convoy.
cops are being very aggressive. They seem to want to push the crowd back in a way. They don't want this memorial service tomorrow for the veterans to go ahead. And we are seeing huge lineups of cops, like tons and tons of cops in riot gear, pushing these protesters off the streets, up onto the sidewalk, and back. It's not, in this footage, I'm not seeing violence here, but I'm told there has been violence in other areas. I'm told from another source down there that the cops are bringing back in their sound cannon, that LiDAR truck, which uses sonic waves against protests. So that's coming back in. I think that's a terrible thing because that can do permanent damage to people. It can permanently damage hearing and even internal organs if people are hit too close with it. This is a really, really bad situation. This is exactly what I was hoping wouldn't happen.
Police are yelling, "Move!"
Yep. Where do you think blame lies for this? Because I personally, I have to lay the blame for this, just my perspective, squarely on at the feet of the government. I can't even now lay blame with even the protesters going down there. I just think the people have been squeezed so hard.
Looks like they have the rubber bullet guns out again.
Look at, I'm just seeing the cops walking down the street, Karen. I don't know what kind of rifle that is. I'm assuming it's for rubber bullets, but they're all, a bunch of these cops are armed with these weapons. They're out and at the ready. This is.
That's why Sigma can show! Go! She's a beautiful kid!
Guy with that rubber bullet gun there. It's been a cop a long time, you can tell. I mean, by his age. Hard to believe he's this naive, this blind.
Why is your office standing down? Why are you guys standing there wearing those badges with that shit smeared smoke on your face? There's not enough. It makes that lady to hard workers. Hey!
What?
You guys, the people of Ontario deserve better.
Okay?
About
4 or 5 of them, I think, with the rubber bullet guns. I mean, this guy right here in front of us. He looks old enough to know.
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing some.
But yet he's not.
Apparently not. And look at that guy's hat. General BP probably isn't wearing that in life. His hat. That's all.
People of Ontario,
I don't know either, because the government just isn't prepared to let go of anything. And
Hey!
yeah. 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 Oh my. No, it's just that the cops just keep pushing and pushing. The crowd keeps shouting. You're right. This is out of control in a way. The more the cops try to control this, the more out of control it's going to get.
Shame on you!
He did. Oh, not Jacko.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Well, you keep on fighting for freedom, and thank you for calling in, because it makes a difference. Thank you. All right, call back anytime. Appreciate it. And that was Diane. If you'd like to participate in the call tonight, you can do that. You can call in at 1-833-975-3733. That's 1-833-975-FREE. We see police in Ottawa tonight in force, getting somewhat aggressive with the freedom protesters who were there for what was supposed to be a bike rally, Freedom Weekend. And we're trying to sort of sort this out and kind of get a bead on what is going on down there. There were supposed to be no vehicles, no bikes in the downtown area, but we are seeing some vehicles in the downtown and a massive police presence pushing protesters back, pushing. This is not a good situation. I think it's very volatile. It's a big problem, very dangerous, I would say. This is exactly what I was hoping would not happen. Many people were hoping would not happen. We have our reporter, Carla Olson, on the scene down there, reporting live for the Maverick News channel. So here we are tonight at 8:19 Eastern Standard Time. Police in the nation's capital, reinforced with over 800 RCMP officers brought in. I would say that it's probably a much higher number than that of officers being brought in to bolster the local police presence. This is not a good situation, folks. This is, to say the least, very dangerous. And we're told that there have been skirmishes, some violence already in some areas around the downtown. Carla is giving us her live feed. I've not seen any actual physical violence between police or any of the protesters, but they have been aggressive and have been pushing back, pushing people off the streets. Here's Carla talking.
The crowd.
Listen to what she has to say. She's bringing us a live feed. So her cell phone feed is times a little broken up, but it's not a bad feed coming from Carla. She's doing a great job down there tonight, keeping us informed and feeding us that raw footage. The pictures don't lie.
I'm staring at. Whoa.
Stay on the sidewalk.
Thank you so much.
I'm just not sure exactly what the objective is here on either side. If you're going to have the protests, I just don't know why the cops can't just let the people do their thing, because I'm sure they probably would. I don't know, man. This is not what was supposed to happen. This is not what I expected would happen. And it's not a good situation. But I'll say this, the people are pissed off.
Police reform is coming!
People are fed up.
You guys,
and you know what they're really fed up with? The lies.
Scum! You have failed at your job! That is why we're here! Think about it!
They're fed up with the lies coming from the likes of the Ottawa mayor, the police chief. They're fed up with these officers who say they're only doing their job. They're fed up with being smeared. They're fed up with being insulted. They're fed up with being taken advantage of. They're fed up with being treated with complete contempt.
So they just pushed the guy into a garbage can. He fell over and they jumped on top of him. He's clearly injured and they went to the
And that's why you're getting what you're getting tonight. We've been urging people to remain peaceful. That's been the overriding message overall, but I also said the government keeps pushing, the cops keep squeezing. People will only take so much.
Yeah, he was.
And you have a large portion of the population
Pedophiles and rapists, they get months in jail.
that is feeling very detached from society
Proud of yourselves.
and not
Wow, what a
represented.
job you got. Shameful. Shameful. Oh yeah, I agree with you.
So this is what's happening live in downtown Ottawa tonight, Canada's capital, and our reporter Carla Olson on the scene, bringing us this live coverage here on the Maverick News Channel. Just putting it on the line down there. I hope everyone can remain safe. If you can support what Carla is doing and what we're doing here, you can donate at freedomreporters.com. Freedomreporters.com. You can hit the hot link in the YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble descriptions, and that'll take you straight to the donation page. It helps us do what we're doing here. It will help us continue to bring you coverage like this.
They're trying to get you off the street so they can get the tow trucks in. Again, muscle. Part of the cult.
Going to bring up another feed here. Different angle, different location. So again, this is what's happening tonight in Ottawa.
Big
Here's Carla.
They're trying to get us to leave the area.
Absolutely not the same vibe as the Freedom Convoy. The simple fact is that they acted. They remembered the tear gas, the rubber bullets. They remember the batons. People remember. They're never, ever going to forget. We came here to lay a wreath out of respect and honor to the veterans, to the ones who have died, to the ones who have fought, to the ones that were beat up at the Freedom Convoy. And this, they came here and they came ready. They came ready. And they came with the same force that they had on the very last weekend.
I'm here, baby. I'm here.
We gave them warning that we were coming out of respect, and this is what they did with it. Right here. It's not. But you know what? I'm going to continue to just videotape it. I'm going to let you decide exactly what you see, because that's how we bring the truth. You see what you see, and you decide for yourself. So I'm going to show you the crowd one more time. I'm going to turn my camera off for a minute just to save some battery, okay? So we'll go around again. And if my battery dies, I am going to, and I'm going to encourage you to always and continue to be kind, be Canadian.
So this again, the live feed from our reporter Carla Olson on the scene in Ottawa tonight. And she's right. The people remembered the rubber bullets, the tear gas, the batons, the beatings, the veterans being beaten, the woman trampled by the horse in the Freedom Convoy just a couple of months ago. People haven't forgotten. And what did that achieve? Well, the cops lost the respect of the public. They've lost the trust of the public. These people don't trust the cops anymore. They don't have respect for cops like they used to. And now it's deteriorated into this because the cops are down there projecting a presence, and this is a political thing. It's not just about safety. When they say it's just about public safety, does this look to you like it's just about public safety? Yeah! Like this was supposed to be just about public health? Does this look to you like it's just about public health? This is about much, much more than that. This is about freedom. This was supposed to be something, I don't know what it was supposed to be this weekend, but it's erupted into this. And again, I would say that this is something that is happening organically. It is not something that was choreographed, carefully planned. I just don't believe that. There may have been some planning in some pockets here or there. It's hard to say. We see vehicles showing up, but people were itching to get back up there, obviously, in large numbers. And this is the result. This is the result of government and policing, authoritarianism in a country where people are accustomed to being free.
This is one to share. It's just so sad. It reminds me of the very last weekend of Ottawa and the Freedom Convoy. We just want to honor veterans. That's it. That's all.
I don't think our federal government cares about veterans, to be quite honest with you. Everything in this country has been flipped upside down. They have no respect for veterans. They don't have respect for regular Canadians. They just don't care. And they sure don't like anyone who's a patriot. Any expression of pride in the country is met with this. It's met with this. Another angle, another feed coming out of Ottawa tonight in the downtown. This is, I think, shameful. Again, I don't think it had to come to this at all. This is because of the way the government and police, local municipal officials, the municipality, the way they postured and positioned themselves leading up to this. Carl is quite right. They came in prepared. They were ready for this tonight. And this is just getting started. The main event is tomorrow. We'll have to see what unfolds, what happens heading into tomorrow. Carla, of course, is on scene there. And hopefully she'll have time to tap into our feed and come right into the studio so we can speak with her directly and not just pick up her live feed this way. But we'd like to be able to talk to her, hopefully get a good connection so that we get good audio. But this is the scene in downtown Ottawa tonight. A lot of police vehicles, heavy police presence, hundreds and hundreds of police officers in riot gear. We were told 800 RCMP officers had been called in as reinforcements, but I would suggest to you that the numbers of reinforcements probably much higher than that. Probably much, much higher. There's somebody with a camper. Now, I can't say that I have witnessed yet or at any point, any real serious physical confrontation or violence between the protesters and the police officers on site here. But I'm told there were skirmishes, there was some violence in some areas, and the sonic cannons apparently are being brought in again, or at least one of them. Let's go back over here. Let's see if we have any callers waiting. Yes, we do. Let's bring in Ken from Ohio. And hang on just a second here while I bring Ken up onto the screen so that we can get him in on the call. Just one moment, Ken. I'm going to bring you up here. And there we are. How are you tonight, Ken? What's on your mind?
Okay, Rick. What's on my mind is what I'm seeing is disgusting.
Yep.
That's what's on my mind. I mean, they're pushing the Canadian people as far as they can go, and they're asking or they're pushing for trouble down there right now. I think they are. They're not wanting down there for just to keep the peace. That's not what they want.
Yeah.
They don't want peace. They Nazis, Ottawa police force, I should say. They act like Nazis the way they march around and everything. And these people down here don't have any weapons or anything like that. And yet they got to act like they're so superior, you know, that these people don't mean anything to them.
I agree with you. I think that the cops and the municipality and even the federal government, I think they were going in here looking for a fight.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't like it. Yep. Yep. I agree 100%.
It just aggravates me to see this, why these people are just trying to do the right thing, speak their mind, and yet this is what response they get from the police department.
Did you hear the comments from the mayor of Ottawa that we ran earlier in the broadcast? Were you on
Yes.
for that? Yeah. What
Yes,
did you think?
I did, and yes, I did, and just the way he talked, he was coming down there looking for trouble.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that other, I shouldn't use that word, but anyway, the other guy that's supposed to be in charge of the police department, he's another one just itching for some kind of trouble to lock somebody up or to get somebody in there, or they probably even may send some people in there themselves to start some of this trouble and blame it on the peaceful demonstrators. I mean, they're not demonstrating down to the night so much as they're just walking around, but it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't send someone in there just to get things started anyway.
Yeah. I'm trying to bring up a fresh feed here for folks so they can see footage live. I'll have it up for you momentarily. But yeah, I think you're right on the money. I'm with you. I'm laying the blame for this still at the feet of government. I'm not really seeing much in the way, of violence or anything from the protesters.
Okay. Before I turn your show on about an hour and a half ago, someone, or maybe a little before, whatever, somebody was saying that somebody was arrested by the name of Bubbles or something like that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know who Bubbles is. I do. Wouldn't surprise me. They don't like him. He's a guy who, he's been out there at all of these events, and he does live streaming, and he's kind of an eccentric sort of a person, but intelligent. And yeah, he's been right up in their grill at times with the cops, right? But always been peaceful that I've seen. And in various cities, I've seen him at different freedom rallies, demonstrations. So I'm not surprised that they would go after him. I have no doubt that they've identified certain people. I might even be one of them for that matter, right? That they will that they would like to target and make an example of, and he would definitely be one of them. Yeah, see, they're taking somebody away there right now. We have video footage of an arrest being made here. They have a young man in handcuffs, 4 officers taking him away, and there's that truck. I think that's the truck with the sonic, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think that's the one with the sonic wave device, the LiDAR. That really I don't like. That bothers me because they can do permanent damage to people with that. You can blow. No, they don't. They really don't.
Ottawa, right here in downtown Ottawa, live. Day one of the Rolling Thunder protest here in the nation's capital. It is currently 8:37 p.m. Friday night.
Well, in a way, I mean, I think they are right now. This is the result of what the cops have done, you know? Yeah, well, there's not one person in Parliament, honestly, that has stood up really for the people and for the protesters, not in any really forceful way. It's all been sort of lip service from some conservative members of Parliament, but really they have not been forceful in their defense. Shameful, really.
Friday night, good morning, wherever you are in the world. This is Rideau Street. We saw a lot of action in February, and we're still seeing a lot of action now. Beautiful sunset. Beautiful sunset. Underrated Ottawa. Please come on down this summer and visit the Byward Market. Alright. Probably gonna go over to Parliament now, see what's going on. Still going. Yeah, good. Yeah. Police, man, there's police with tow trucks? No. Oh, yeah, I saw them. They're ridiculous, eh? Not even sure. Yeah. Yeah, they got some big guns, man. That's a little concerning. I think we'll see. We shall see, yeah. And if something does, then tomorrow's going to be quite the show. Good luck, brother. Good luck. Be safe, man.
Right. We see that they're backing up a bus. This is a bus, I think, that has been up there before. It's been at other freedom rallies, and it's a bus that has signatures all over it of people who have come out to these rallies and have signed it to, you know, show that they were there and show solidarity, I guess. What do you make of this sort of being? We're going to bring Stephanie in on the call here too, so you can have both of you on the line. Hi, Stephanie. What do you make of all of this, Stephanie? You're watching this unfold in Ottawa tonight as well?
So I don't think they're coming here because there's a protest going on.
Yeah.
I think your best bet would go to, I think, Mackenzie King Bridge. Yeah. Where exactly are you going? Do you need to take the train?
Okay, I show you 2
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is quite the walk. I suggest maybe going to. I'm sorry. I would say go to Elgin Street because that's where the 6 would go down.
So don't walk here.
No. You can probably ask the police if there's a bus reroute where they would reroute the bus. Yeah, that's probably your best bet because they would know if anything. No problem. Good luck. Got a lost tourist here.
Yeah.
Montreal.
Yeah.
Let's see if they'll help her. Alright, she's good. Yeah, she's walking with a big luggage too, so that sucks. Kind of a bad time to visit Ottawa if you didn't expect this. Don't really know where you're going. Ottawa has a weird transatlantic accent. I'll take it.
Yeah. It's crazy. No, things are out of whack for sure. Doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah, I tried my best to help her, but I just didn't know. Of course, there'd be some bus reroutes going on because of this. Assuming they would all go to Mackenzie King Bridge, but I couldn't even explain how to get there to her right now. The mall seems to be closed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me, I mean, you live in the Ottawa area, so the politicians and the cops are telling us that the people of Ottawa are fed up. They don't want this. They're against these demonstrations. I'm sure there are some people like that, but what's your take? What is the mood in Ottawa itself with the local residents? Is it split? Just
Something you're used to already, though. Ooh, come on, get it! Really? He's wheeling the entire Rideau Street there, almost. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yo, hit that wheelie again. That was fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, Nick. There you go. There you go. Oh, you almost got the whole thing.
Okay. That's because that's the way it was before, I guess, right?
Yeah, he'll be a pro in no time, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I've been down there many times. I go to Ottawa usually 2 or 3 times a year for work, for business, and I know exactly what you're talking about. That McDonald's, Tim Hortons downtown, right by the Rideau Center, that like little strip there. It's shameful because you have homeless people sleeping on the street right there under the shadow of the Parliament buildings, just a few blocks away. And yet we have this happening here tonight. This is the way they're treating regular Canadians. In my view, that's what they're dealing with down there, and yet they're treating them like a bunch of terrorists. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just so political, and you can see where this is going to go. And I mean, I haven't watched any mainstream media reports here tonight because we've been busy doing this, but I can just imagine the headlines now. You know, veterans protest turns violent, white supremacist bikers get out of hand, police arrest violent protesters, right? Like these are this is how they'll frame it. Yeah. Right. Yep. Well, Carla, our roving reporter and freedom fighter on the scene, is joining us now live. I don't know if you can hear us, Carla. It's really loud. She might not be able to hear us. Stay on the line there, Stephanie. She's.
I don't know if I can hear you guys.
Yeah.
I don't think you can hear me. I'm going to try and find my headphones.
Yeah, she's going to get her headphones on.
I have them, so just give me a sec.
So, yeah, keep on talking there, Stephanie.
Are they clearing the sidewalks?
What do you want right now? TikTok? What do you want on TikTok? That's cool. I got.
Oh.
Awesome. Well, there you go. Congrats. Everyone, cheers.
Right.
My friend didn't get arrested. I found him.
Oh, good. All right, guys.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
I'll be out here. Are you here tomorrow as well?
Yeah, we've got Carla on the line. Stephanie, I'm going to have to jump out of the call because our reporter, Carla, is coming online. And thank you so much for calling it. It was a great call, and you gave us great insight perspective, and I'm so grateful for that. Really, really useful, helpful. All right, thank you. Call back again, please. Great call from Stephanie tonight. Thank you, Stephanie. And hi, Carla. Can you hear us?
I can now. I had to get some headphones on, guys, because I couldn't hear a thing.
Yeah.
So
Well,
sorry about that camera action there while I was moving around trying to find things. So you can see for yourselves that the tone is a whole lot different
yes.
from the Freedom Convoy.
So is it violent? Because we're getting reports that there have been arrests and that the cops have been involved in some skirmishes with people.
Lots of skirmishes with people. As soon as we got into the city, we drove down Slater Street to go to our hotel. We saw the whole issue at the Bubble Bus where Jim Kerr was arrested. It's just been since the very beginning. We've seen this exact type of scene from the police. They've got a level of aggression. It's very reminiscent of the very last weekend of the Freedom Convoy. I've seen the police, a lot of stuff, like a lot of them pushing the protesters. The vibe is a whole lot different. It's like the people came to do one thing and the police, they were ready for a fight. And that's what we're seeing.
Is that your take on it? Is that the police came down there looking for this, or like I'm just not sure how this could have happened?
Well, when we came downtown, they already had the cops with the riot gear on them. They had some cops that people thought were SWAT team arresting Jim Kerr at his Bubble Bus. He was parked in a parking lot. Apparently, he didn't. He said that some people say that he actually paid to park in this private lot. And he was in the lot. There were bylaw officers. There had to be 50 of them. I do have some footage of that. A small crowd was gathered there. And he basically said that, he wasn't doing anything wrong. They said he shouldn't idle, yet all their vehicles were idling.
The police were very aggressive, doing that whole line formation like you're seeing right now. They didn't have the helmets on. But then over came the SWAT team, and Jim Kerr stood up on the top of his bubble bus. He said, look, he said, they're telling me I have to move. I'm going to move my vehicle. Then the very next thing we see is Jim Kerr being arrested and taken away, and his bubble bus being, being towed. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they came looking for a fight, but I mean, and then we walked down here just to the Rideau Center, and you saw the police were already in their line formation with the riot gear. They've got their guns with their rubber bullets. The LRAD is behind me. I think they came prepared. That's the way it appears to me. However, I'm just bringing the truth. I'm just showing the people, see it for how you see it. I've got lots of live coverage.
Yeah. Anybody hurt that you've seen?
I haven't seen anyone injured. I have seen them pretty rough with people. I was standing, you'll see on my very last clip before I put my phone away, my phone went kind of sideways and wonky because I was on the sidewalk and I saw these cops. I brought my camera to them and they had a look in their eye. They were looking specifically at a guy who was standing near me, and they jumped onto the sidewalk, grabbed him and pulled him into their crowd. And that's when my phone went a little weird because it moved. Things got crazy. My phone went sideways and then I lost them. So I don't know if that guy was injured, but I know that an awful lot of cops pulled him into their crowd. He did not step into theirs.
This was supposed to be an exclusion zone, no vehicles, but we're seeing some trucks and buses. Is what I'm describing, is that accurate? Are there vehicles in the exclusion zone?
Yeah, there absolutely are vehicles in the exclusion zone just behind this police line. So the police were behind these vehicles. I walked down in some of my footage and I walked past it, and I found it very interesting that there were actually vehicles that got here. I don't know how they got onto Rideau Street. There were, I don't know, maybe less than 10. And then all of a sudden, the police, that's when they started moving. So my assumption is the possibility that they were trying to get the crowd on the other side of where the vehicles were. They seem to be securing the area around the vehicles. I don't know, maybe potentially to tow them. I'm not exactly sure.
Can you pan down a little bit so we can see your bright face?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, there you are.
Hi, guys.
What's your take on this for, like, as we head into the evening? It looks like this is something that's going to drag on for a while, maybe all night again, and then into tomorrow, kind of like it did before.
You betcha. This is the vibe I'm getting. One thing I am noticing, there's a few more people. I could smell a little more alcohol. Like, that was one thing I noticed during the Freedom Convoy. I never smelled alcohol. It didn't have that sense. It was a celebratory thing, but I am smelling a little bit of booze here. Not that I'm judging, because I'll probably have a glass of wine when I finish, but it's just different. I'm feeling a different vibe. I don't want to announce to you guys exactly what I'm feeling. What I'm trying to do is just show it to people and let them see for themselves, because that's really true journalism. It's not me leading, it's them looking for themselves. It's the viewer looking for themselves. So I don't know. What are you guys feeling so far from looking?
Well, Brendan's not here. I'm running solo
tonight. Sorry.
That's okay. But it's been difficult for me to get a take on this because I can't really figure it out, right? This is different. The last time it was very clear what was going on to me. This time it seems more chaotic.
Absolutely more chaotic. And what's interesting is this Rolling Thunder has been planned pretty much since Ottawa. The bikers were just waiting for the right weather. And once they saw the veterans were beaten at the War Memorial, their goal was always to do exactly what they set out to do. They've been planning it. It's been well orchestrated. I think what happened was, they started to work with the police because they wanted to be respectful. They wanted to show that they're respectful, peaceful Canadians. So they let the police in on everything. And then the police, they came along and started making changes, like 6 days before this thing was coming. That's when they started to tell them, okay, we're not letting the bikes down. We're going to block these areas. We're changing the way that we're allowed to do things, that you're allowed to do things. And, the organizer, Neil on the Hill, he actually said, I'm fearing that it's going to make things chaotic because you've switched gears from the plan. And I'm starting to see exactly what you see, an awful lot of chaos. And I believe that perhaps Neil on the Hill may have been right.
But it started as a bikers veterans thing, but this is not just that. This is much, much more than that. And that's what I've been saying all along too. Everybody that was talking to me about it kept talking about a freedom rally, and it was a lot of a lot of different kinds of people getting ready to go up. It was much bigger than that, and we're seeing that now.
Right, and that's the whole thing. And I think, and I do feel bad for the organizers of this Rolling Thunder, because their intention was simply exactly what I just said. You know, they wanted to come down here. They wanted to honor the veterans, the ones that fought for us, you know, the ones that lost their lives in the past fighting for our freedom. And then they wanted to continue to honor also the veterans that came during the Freedom Convoy who were standing for our freedom, the ones that were beaten. That was their intention. That was all it was. But I do believe that there's something else going on. I think that the people of Canada, specifically in this case, Ontario, they've just had enough. They want this to end. They want their freedom back.
Yeah, it seems complicated, more complicated now though. Like, this is like people are just pissed off.
Yeah, I will say there's a lot of angry people. Still seeing a lot of hugging. Like, there's an awful lot of unity among the people that are here for this. Yeah. But when it comes to the people looking onto the police officers and speaking to the police officers, there's an awful lot more aggression than what I've seen in the past.
So do you think this is going to help the freedom movement or hurt it?
I think it's too early to tell, Rick. I guess it depends on who moves more aggressively.
Yes, I'm very worried about that. And do you see much mainstream media down there? Because we know how they love to lie.
Yeah, I saw CBC as I was coming down here, and I did get a nice little picture of their camera when I was walking, and reminded the people that they have the big camera, but I have the truth. They didn't like that comment.
You are armed with the truth. Absolutely. So how do you think this will affect things tomorrow? Because this is just like barely getting started. The main events are all tomorrow.
We're literally just hours into it. We have the whole day tomorrow. They have the church service on Sunday. Apparently the Ottawa police were saying that they weren't going to allow people to park near the church. I'm not exactly sure the location. I think it's on Vanier. There's a church. So now they're trying to block a church service. There's a lot of people that are angry about that. And I don't know. It's hard to say exactly how this is going to play out.
Man,
but like you said, it is just getting started. So
they're talking about blocking a church service?
Not the service itself, but they're not going to allow vehicles near the area. And it sounds to me like this Vanier, from what I've heard, is near Coventry, and you know, the infamous Coventry where the supplies were. I don't know how far of a walk that's going to be from downtown. I need to figure all those details out so I can get to that church service on Sunday.
Do you think this can even happen tomorrow? Will they even, what this already at this level, I can only see the police becoming even more and more and more aggressive and trying to just clear everybody out.
This is what I'm hearing as well, because you can hear even just the tone of the crowd behind me.
Yeah. Oh boy. You know, this is so dangerous too, because if we get a lot of violence or even a little bit of violence, it's just, the media will just use this. The politicians will use it to smear the whole group. You're a bunch of terrorists, white supremacists, the whole thing, you know, just like I was afraid would happen. But this, you know, I was afraid they might arrest one guy and make an example. But this right now, the way it's unfolding, this is like on a big scale. It's like they're going to look at the way they portrayed the other one. Like, I'm very afraid. I guess we're on the same page with that, right?
Yeah, like it is definitely, the vibe is 100% different. But the police also have remember how the Freedom Convoy was? It went on for 3 weeks. And in the beginning, the police had this really great rapport with the people. They were building relationship and forming relationship with the protesters. And then it just came out of nowhere that last weekend. Well, I guess we felt it building maybe through the last week, but over that last weekend, then we saw a complete, 365 in the way that they were acting. And you know, what's happening here is the police have come and they've got that same, there's no relationship. There's no eye contact with the police. They refuse to look at any of the people who are here. I don't know if I can't call them protesters, because this wasn't intended to be a protest. I would call them gatherers for this point. I don't know.
Yeah.
but the police have a different stance about them. It's very reminiscent of that last weekend of Ottawa. And I think what's happened is it's put the people that are here on the defensive. It's triggering them, really, is what's happening, because we're hearing the people say to the police, reminding them of what they did that last weekend, saying to them, do you want to repeat? Is that what you're trying to do? These are the kind of comments I'm hearing throughout the crowd.
So when you got there tonight and you went down, give me a sense of how this started, like the negativity. Like, was this something that looked like it could just go off peacefully without a hitch, and then the cops came in and started to agitate people, or what happened? What went wrong?
Well, we got into the city close to 6 o'clock, and we checked into our hotel, and just 1 block from our hotel was the whole issue of the bubble bus. And I did post a video. As we drove by, on Slater Street, we saw the bubble bus, and my friend Taryn was in the back, and she did a little hoopla. And then alongside, we were just driving to the hotel, and then a black, I thought it was an Escalade, but it was some kind of a black SUV, blacked out windows, pulled up beside us, rolled the window down, and it was an Ottawa police officer. And he looked into our car and he said to my friend Taryn, were you trying to get my attention? And she said, no. And he said, well, you have it now. And he was quite angry. And you could tell that he was more on the offensive, right? So we felt it from the moment we arrived to the city. And then when we left the hotel to come downtown, we thought we'd walk down by the bubble bus just to see what was happening, not expecting to see all of those police officers. So honestly, Rick, we've been here since 6 o'clock, and this is all we've seen.
Oh my God.
And the people that were standing at the bubble bus were begging. I do have a great clip. It was one of the first lives I did. And there was a guy, and he was talking to the cops, and he was explaining to them, look, we came here peacefully. What is this? Literally begging the police for an answer. So, and he was very respectful to the police. And I got a long clip of him just kind of walking up and down the row of the police when they were standing there, talking to them. Like, say he was speaking to them, they wouldn't obviously respond to him. So it's just been completely different. It's a lot to take in.
So, I don't even know what to think. What might come next?
Yeah, I don't either.
Is the crowd shrinking now that it's getting a little later? Or?
It's growing.
Growing.
You bet it is. It's growing.
And how many cops are we talking about?
Well, in the beginning, there were more cops than people. Right now, there's more people than cops. So I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, or what later this evening is going to bring.
And so people will stay for a while tonight, but then, of course, the crowd, like before, will likely thin out, and then people will come back tomorrow. So who knows what tactics the cops might use.
Well, and I'm thinking, the service at the War Memorial is for 10 o'clock. I mean, there could be people coming in the morning. We could expect even more people in the morning. So people who weren't here tonight, I don't know. I can't even try to predict. Everything feels a little unstable right now. And like
very
chaotic, but it's quite unstable, I think, is a good description.
Like right now, it looks like just people milling about. Are the cops trying to actively push people out, or what are they doing?
Well, the people were standing on the street because the roads are blocked, so you can technically walk on the street. There's no vehicles on the street other than the ones that were parked. And so it started with the police pushing the people off the street and wanting them on the sidewalk. It felt the very same as when they were trying to gain ground, to put up their barricades. And so the people there's now, the police have stopped pushing people on the street. They're allowing people onto the street now, but that's because they're in front of these vehicles. And that's why I feel like they're trying to kind of protect the vehicles so they can tow them out of the way. I don't know if they're going to try and move the crowd further. I really don't know. Like I said, it's unstable.
Why did they want them off the streets? Any idea?
I have no idea. They wanted everyone on the sidewalk. But now they seem to, as you can see behind me, I'm standing on the edge of the sidewalk. There are people on the street, but it was just until we got, whoa, where did that come from? It was just until we got, that was so close. It was just until we got in front of those other of the parked vehicles. So that's why I'm really assuming that their intention is to tow those vehicles.
Ah. How many vehicles were actually down there tonight? Was it trucks? I saw
There
a bus.
there was that bus. There were some cars. There was actually, I did see a tow truck that was parked down there, and people were standing on top of it. Am I in front of that now? Oh yeah, I'm quite a ways in front of it. I saw a mobile home. Yeah, there's a lot to see. A lot of things that are just different. That's the only way I can describe it, Rick.
No bouncy castles this time.
There are no bouncy castles, but I'm telling you, Bubbles were offensive because he sure did get arrested. I found this interesting. The crowd was asking the police, why did you arrest Jim Kerr? And they wouldn't respond. And then finally, one police officer, he looked to the crowd and he said, because he has the freedom to his privacy. Those are his words. The crowd went wild.
What the hell does that even mean?
It means nothing. That's the point. He's using words, just words with no meaning. Freedom means nothing. People don't feel free.
Are you seeing any sort of the prominent freedom fighters down there? Like, I think there was a PPC march with Maxime Bernier or something, right? Are there other characters down there?
I haven't seen anyone, but what I am noticing is I'm seeing an awful lot of the key players that were here for the Freedom Convoy, an awful lot of familiar faces.
Yeah, and maybe that's why the politicians feel so threatened, because they're all coming back.
Wow.
Do you think that because, they can beat the crap out of people and beat veterans with batons and shoot people with rubber bullets, but you all came back?
Fearless, I tell you, fearless.
Yeah, suckers for punishment.
You know what? No, the one guy said it best. He said, you can keep doing. It was this man that was speaking to the police down on Slater Street. He said, you can keep doing this, but we're going to keep coming back because we won't stop. And I liked this one piece too, where he did say to them, we are actually fighting for you and you can't even see it. And this is the way you repay us.
Yeah.
Those are powerful words.
Well, I don't know, Carla. What do you have any sort of final thoughts for us to kind of set the stage for the rest of the night?
Yeah, I don't. I am in heavy anticipation. Like I said, you said it the best, that things felt very chaotic. The instability makes me a little bit nervous. I don't really have any final thoughts. I do think that this is going to go on for quite a while. I will be continuing to go live as much as my battery will. I didn't bring my extra cord. I didn't really think that I would need to be on, live the entire time I was here, but there's just something happening all the time, all around me. It's kind of a stimulus overload. So I'll be interested to see what tomorrow brings. Those are my final thoughts, And I just hope that this crowd calms down a little bit. I hope that the police can't. I feel like the police are actually agitating the crowd, and the crowd is agitating the police. It's just not a good situation. I hope things change. I hope the tone changes.
Well, I have seen that too. Like the protesters right up in the face of the cops saying "shame on you" and shouting, and the vibe is different this time.
It is so different. The vibe, like I said, the vibe felt like walking into this felt like I was walking into the last weekend of Ottawa, and it's frightening. It is. I'm not going to lie. It is a little bit frightening.
And it's sad.
It is sad because this was in my world, and what the organizers were planning was really just that simple. Just an opportunity to bring dignity and respect back to the war monument. And I'm not seeing that happen so far.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight.
I'll join you again.
Yeah, okay. Well, you've got the link, so you can sign in at any time.
Okay.
We may pick up your live feeds and amplify them here as you do that. We'll try to just keep people informed if we can. And I'm going to stay on later tonight and just keep on going. so that we can continue to show people what's unfolding, because I think this is huge.
Oh, it's big. It's big, Rick. I'm really glad that I'm able to share it with you. I'm really glad to be on here with you. I've missed you. I've missed your viewers. It's good to be here.
Carla, I can tell you, everybody here misses you. They ask about you all the time. Where's Carla? Where's Carla? Where's Carla? It's all we hear in the comments. Honestly, like constantly, people ask, and they even phone and ask me. They truly do.
Well, I miss everyone too. You know, I'm busy. I'm busy right now. I'm planning a campaign. I want to get a seat at Queen's Park. So.
Right.
But this is I can't not be here. You know, I wear a lot of hats, I think.
Yeah, well,
mostly to bring the truth, man. Just to fight for freedom and to bring the truth. That's who I am.
That is, it's paramount. It's such important work right now, especially this weekend. This is a huge story, and the truth you need to do what you're doing so we can hold everyone accountable for their actions and show people what's really going on, because we know that the other media is just not going to do it. They're going to lie. No matter what happens.
And you know, like, I want to spin this in a real positive love vibe. I can't. So I can only imagine what they're going to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
There's
you go.
Some love. There's some love right there.
Well, hopefully we see a lot more of that and a lot less of the confrontational stuff. So you stay safe. I'm gonna monitor your feeds and watch what you're doing, and we're going to keep the people informed. And, you know, if we don't touch base with you again later tonight, we'll certainly have you back on through the day, maybe tomorrow or into tomorrow night. So thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing and being part of the team and the Maverick family.
I'm so glad to be with you. Thanks for having me. I just want to sign off, and I want to remind anyone that's listening, as I'm saying it to the people here, be kind and be Canadian.
There you have it. Carla Olson, everybody. All right. Thank you, Carla.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Okay. See ya. And that's Carla Olson on the scene, keeping us informed, bringing us the raw footage tonight. So we'll be in touch with her, and she's going to keep us in the loop and show us what's going on down there. This is really not good. As you see, this is a chaotic scene. It is volatile. Arrests have been made. We've seen skirmishes with police and some protesters. They've clearly been cops have been clearly targeting specific people, going after people they don't like Bubbles, who is a guy who's been out to many, many freedom protests. I've seen his videos online for the past couple of years from various cities, and he was in Ottawa tonight. They arrested him. We somehow saw vehicles get in behind the police lines into the exclusion zone where there were supposed to be no vehicles allowed, but they are there. Trucks, a bus. I don't know exactly how many vehicles. Carla, our reporter on the scene, telling us maybe as many as 10 or somewhere in that range. Hundreds and hundreds of police officers. We know for sure that they brought in at least 800 RCMP officers as reinforcements tonight to bolster the ranks of the local Ottawa Police Service as they prepared for this demonstration in Ottawa. And here you see the cops in their yellow vests and riot gear. They were pushing people down the street, as we saw earlier, pushing them off the street onto the sidewalks. Why? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe to clear vehicles out, to make way for vehicles to get out of the air. I don't know. It really didn't seem to make sense to me. And that's why I said to Carla earlier, the whole scene down there tonight seems to be very chaotic. What was supposed to be a peaceful biker rally to honor veterans has morphed into something much larger. I told everyone earlier in the week that this whole thing was not just that it was going to be some sort of a peace rally, freedom demonstration rather. because everyone kept referring to it as that I kept hearing from. And indeed, that seems to be what we're getting going on here tonight. We have a caller calling in now here. Let's go to Greg. Let's see if I can bring up Greg onto the feed here. One moment. Will I add you to the feed? Here we are. There we are, Greg. I think everybody can hear you now. How are you feeling? What are you thinking tonight, Greg?
Well, what I'm saying is, this is our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, flexing his muscles with the people that should be down there protesting, having rallies. It's our Constitution. And with your feed, Rick, think about this, your feed and other feeds, this is going all over the world.
Yes, it
and
is.
They're showing
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, if we were in France, that would be, I think, totally legal. But we're not.
Yeah. Well, the cabinet and the World Economic Forum. You mean the World Economic Forum? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, Rick Nichols. Mm-hmm. 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 I'm not sure, but quite a while actually. At the provincial level, yeah, they've been using machines for quite a while. They, um, yeah. Mm-hmm. Huge. See a huge tow truck there. They've got tow trucks in position and ready to move vehicles if necessary down there. Cops everywhere, still lined up. Man, this is like this is exactly what I was hoping would not happen. Where do you lay the blame for this tonight? Do you think it's the government, the protesters, a mix of both? What do you think? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't like him. They don't like him. He's been targeted in multiple cities. Yeah, in many cities they've targeted him. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to bring another caller in here with us. You can stay on the line. You can stay on the line. But I've got somebody here from Ottawa calling in, and it says we're not getting leads. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Who do we have in the line with us? Uh-huh. Oh. Oh. Okay, I know what's going on. Okay, hang on a second here. Hang on. Here. Now they can hear everybody, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they can hear everybody, right? We've been upgrading the system here, and we've been trying to get this phone system to work better with feeds coming in, right? We've been upgrading the system, so
phone to work better with speed upgrading the system.
And I'm getting feedback here. I need to get this echo out of my head too. Hang on. I appreciate you calling and let us know. What do you think about what's going on tonight?
Just a second. Go turn this down.
Yeah.
I think it's a powder keg ready to go off.
Yeah.
And you know, it's been coming. It's been coming.
Yeah. So where do you think it's going to go from
and it
here?
Really, well, it really scares. They're happy, and these guys are really getting mad. We could have buildings set on fire and everything if the cops don't back off.
Well, I hope it doesn't come to that.
No.
But
I hope it doesn't either. But from what Carla and stuff was saying, she said the tension is just like at the end of that Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. What do you think, Greg?
What do I think?
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't come to that.
Yeah.
Because that's what Trudeau wants. He wants confrontation. He wants the news, the fake news, to cover this, that it's all about the people that are rallying that's causing the trouble.
Yeah.
But everybody can on the feeds. They can see what these cops are doing. They're agitating the people. Push back, move. Mm-hmm. You know, get off the sidewalks, you know, and then, then they let them on the streets. But they let them on the streets because I think that some of the vehicles that they want to tow, these. And like I said, that people can see it all over the world. They can't stop what you're doing. Well, he can try, Trudeau, and he is trying this. And maybe we can get him on what he's just. For 6 years, you know, what have the Conservatives done? They've done nothing to get him out of power. All the things, the weed scandals, and now this one here. I don't know if they'll make it stick or not. You know, that he took $215,000 as a bribe.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah,
because the lobbyist, the guy from Aga Khan, he was lobbying the Liberal government, and Trudeau took a $215,000 bribe to go to the Aga Khan island.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know what that island's all about. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I won't stay on the line. All I want to say is, I think everybody that's listening to me, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna dump out of these calls quickly because we've got a feed coming in from Carla.
Yep.
But thank you both of you for calling
Okay.
in, and call back at any time. And thank you for letting us know about the technical problem
Let's
as well.
get everybody donating tonight.
You're
to
welcome,
keep
Rick.
Rick on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, we're going to go to a live feed now with Carla.
That's what's really scary. What we do know is that legacy media is going to paint a very different picture. So I appreciate your story. Thank you so much, because I just want to bring the truth. So, well, I'm glad you're here too, Deborah. Thanks. I'm going to just go ahead and pan this crowd a little bit.
So Carla Olson on the scene tonight. She's our roving reporter.
So there you heard it. So now you know the beginning. So it didn't start out like that. It did start out exactly the way it was planned. And a few people went off the beaten path to look at something else, to cheer on fellow Canadians, and then it was declared an occupation.
So that changes things a little bit for me because I really didn't know how to assess this situation. And I'm going to continue to tape it just so that I can assess it appropriately. But more importantly, I want you to see for yourself, because that's what true journalism is. That's what true, that's the true essence of journalism, is me just presenting what you can and showing you what's happening and letting you make the decision. Let's look at a little bit of truth. Great song.
So this is the scene in downtown Ottawa tonight. Carla had an explanation there as to how this started. Apparently everything started out as planned, and then something went a little bit sideways where some people went into an area, giving police an opportunity to declare this an occupation. And that's when police became more aggressive. Arrests have been made. There were skirmishes between some of the demonstrators and police.
They wanted us. They wanted us on the sidewalk, them on the street. Now they've moved on to the sidewalk. This is very reminiscent to that last weekend, just the pushing of the crowd, them advancing, gaining ground.
They have no jurisdiction on the hill. It's federal. It's federal grant, guys. Go to the hill.
Where'd Sylvie and Deb go? There's a lot more people than there are police at this point. Here's the police. So everyone's saying, let's go to the hill. It's federal ground. And then these are the people. There's so many people back there. So, I don't know. I'll be interested to see how many police are here tomorrow.
Hurry up!
So everybody's heading back to the hill. We'll see what happens.
You came here for vets.
Yeah, exactly. Another police line, and we came here for the
I
veterans.
guess people came down here when they weren't supposed to, which is what started all of this.
Yeah, that's what I heard. They were marching, and then a few came to look at the vehicles that were parked. And my friend said that what happened was that's when they declared it an occupation, and this is the result.
So I'm
So they
actually
were
live
waiting.
right
I
now.
am live too.
Okay. Do you actually want to say that in front of the camera? So
Sure. Like I wasn't here for that. We got here around 6 o'clock, and it's just been aggression ever since. We started when what was his name? Jim Hill got arrested for the bubble bus. We were at that, and then we walked down here and to this. But my friends were down here. They started off with the march. The plan was apparently they were supposed to turn just before the Rideau Center. They were supposed to head left. And what happened was some of the people saw these vehicles that are parked down the street, and they just wanted to go cheer them on. They were cheering. It was just that joyful moment. And then the police somehow decided that it was an occupation. They went up to an organizer, said, we now declare this an occupation. So people will be arrested, people will be fined, and this is what we have. And here we go. Move.
Okay, you're good.
Somebody
hit one of them in the middle.
Somebody hit what? We had to run a little. That was, the police literally started running. I don't know, there was a kerfuffle with one of the crowd. A little bit of chaos with the crowd. So the police started running. We all had to go forward and run. You saw the crowd running. This does not in any way, shape, or form respect or give dignity to the war monument.
Karen?
The police are just, they're coming with their usual aggression. Here they come with it. Moving a little quicker than they did on that last weekend. None of us are. None of us are. That was crazy having to run, eh?
They fucking charged.
They did charge, I know. They 100% charged. I haven't run that fast in a long time. You can always count on Ottawa to get my heart rate up.
That's it. They're working for it right there. That's their government. It's the regime. It's not free.
police charged. We had to run. Why did they charge? Somebody made them mad, and I don't know what happened, but they got angry with somebody. Then the police started to charge. I never ran so fast in my life.
I know. I so did I. We started picking up.
I was trying. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's okay.
I wish they would do the fireworks.
The fireworks are great.
Yeah, but
it's not a good idea.
Yeah, they.
That was one thing that they said in the thing. There's no fireworks, and they're yeah.
Oh, like that.
No fireworks. No
respect. Very peaceful.
Would you say that the police, there's less of them than us at this point? Yeah.
I think it's time to go to the hill. Come on.
That's why people are heading up there.
So this is what's happening in the nation's capital tonight. Maverick Freedom reporter Carla Olson on the scene. I'm trying to make sense of this. To be quite honest, folks, I'm having difficulty. I can't quite figure this whole thing out. Other than to say we know police and the municipality, the federal government, the province, they were prepped. They were locked and loaded for a fight. We know that. Lots of officers. What was supposed to be.
People to move peacefully back beyond the intersection. They're asking people to move peacefully back towards the intersection. So hopefully the people move.
They're obviously trying to clear the people out of the downtown area. That's what they're doing.
It's just really, really hard. The police are telling the crowd to move peacefully, but yet they're standing there with intimidation. It's just an awful lot of mixed messages. It does feel kind of unstable, fairly chaotic. It's just, to me, this is a different vibe. It's very reminiscent of that last weekend.
Totally different
at
vibe.
the Freedom Convoy.
Totally different vibe. It's a different vibe because the people have been pushed and prodded, insulted, slandered, smeared, lied about. They've had their freedom taken away.
What did they do over there? Did they arrest somebody over
tired
there?
of
Is that what Jacko said?
My friend was looking for
And
a
now they're
friend, and it
venting,
was
basically, I would
CJ
say.
who was looking for who got arrested.
What?
Oh.
Oh, CJ, they arrested CJ.
Yeah. Just a guy she knows, freedom fighter. So there was remember Jacko?
Yeah, Jacko's over there.
Yeah, Jacko came and told someone that, so they arrested somebody. I don't know.
Because I heard him
These
tell
girls are living their best life in other news. It's nice to see that.
Let's bring up some of the comments from our Maverick family. Let's see what you guys are thinking about all this. Bad aura, says none. Yeah. Susan says my thoughts are an overload. Yeah, they are. I'm really trying to assess this thing. I need more time. Brendan's just off tonight. I'm not sure if he'll be on this weekend at all. He has some family obligations.
Hello. Just showing your love, showing your freedom. All right. Living your best life. Well done. That's what I like to see is a few smiling faces. I'm just not seeing as many this time. A little bit of tension. Some smiles.
Susan says, be safe, Carla. Yes.
What are they doing now? You think they'd be dispersed?
William says, I sent street party. Yes, but no.
Oh, yeah, she is.
No bouncy castles this time. A lot more frustration with the people. Anger.
Okay, so we backed up a little bit. The police did ask people to step past the other side of the intersection. Kind of hoping that people do it. I really, really am. I really want this to work. I want this to be about the veterans tomorrow. Like I said, I think what's happening here is an awful lot of people are triggered at this point. Now that the Ottawa police have declared this as an occupation, it kind of changes the level. They up the level, so now the crowd is up the level. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I do not know, but there you have it. Rolling Thunder, night one. Please share all these videos, share them far, share them wide. Make your own decision. Tell me what you feel. Tell me what kind of vibe you're feeling here. I'm still undecided. I'm going to wait and see what tomorrow brings. I'll be back on if anything develops, but right now it's just people milling around. The police are just asking people to get beyond the intersection. Looks like it's that whole inch by inch thing again, except for when they did charge and we all had to run. So yeah, just make your own decision. I'm just bringing the view. I'm just bringing the live coverage. I'm going to let you decide. Go ahead and put what you think is happening. Tell me what the vibe is you're feeling. Put it in the comments. I want to know how you feel. Thank you so much for watching. Please continue to follow. Please continue to share. And definitely let me know the vibe. What's the vibe that you're feeling? So I'm just going to head out. And like I said, I will come on if anything develops. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. I'm just going to remind everybody again, just to continue to be kind and be Canadian.
And there's Carla Olson, our reporter on the scene in Ottawa tonight. I apologize for the technical problems earlier where you couldn't hear our call-in guests. Try and avoid that as we move ahead into future broadcasts. Going to take a brief break. Be right back after this message.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program. For your mind.
And you can donate to support our independent journalism here at the Maverick News channel by donating at freedomreporters.com. You can also click the hot link in the YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble descriptions. And of course, this weekend we do have Carla Olson back with us, Freedom Reporter, who was on the ground during the truckers rally as well. And we have boots on the ground, so to speak, journalistic boots on the ground in the nation's capital this weekend, covering what was supposed to be Rolling Thunder, a bikers rally to honor veterans that I knew had turned into something much more, into another freedom rally, which the organizers said wasn't a freedom rally, but we're seeing a massive crowd down there, not just bikers, but people from various walks of life, and skirmishes between police tonight, people arrested, some violence, I guess, down there. Can't really quite get a handle on exactly what's going on because it has been somewhat chaotic. But Carla has been bringing us live feeds from the scene. We're very grateful for that. But as she said, people are at this point kind of milling around. Police have been pushing the protesters back inch by inch out of the downtown, and they have declared this an occupation again. That changes things, I guess. I'm not sure what that means legally, but clearly they're using that as an opportunity to push people out of the downtown and take a much more aggressive approach toward this. And this is just getting started. Just getting started. A lot more to come tomorrow. So if you can, support us. We do have costs associated with running this operation, and Carla has expenses going up there to Ottawa to cover this for us and to bring us these live feeds, which, of course, are extremely important because the video doesn't lie, and it's the raw footage that is most important because that is where we find truth. It's unedited, it's raw, and extended. So it gives you a window through which you can see exactly what is going on up there on the streets while these demonstrations unfold. Tomorrow, this was just a prelude, a small prelude of things to come. There was a full slate. There is a full schedule of events for tomorrow. But at this point, I don't know what to expect starting early in the morning. I will tell you this. We're going to sign off and save our energy here. And then we'll be back on tomorrow morning, probably starting around 9:30, I think. So look for the live feed notification. We'll start bringing you live feeds from Carla. There is a church service, I guess, tomorrow. And, of course, the main event was supposed to be the bikers going down with other supporters or people who wanted to pay their respects, going to the War Memorial to lay a wreath and take that cenotaph back for the people after the government and the cops put a fence around it before, during the Freedom Convoy involving the truckers before. Some vehicles tonight did get in around the police barricades into the so-called exclusion zone. But tow trucks are on site, and it is clear the police are going to be taking a very aggressive stance on all of this. But the people are not happy. And the vibe, as Carla said, is completely different this time around. People are fed up for all of the reasons I've already stated during this broadcast. And this is a huge story. The world is watching again. All eyes are on Ottawa, Canada's capital, the government, police, and the protesters. And we're watching too, keeping you all informed. And we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. With all of that said, please like and subscribe to our channels. It will help us immensely as we try to keep the information flowing. And if you can, donate at freedomreporters.com so we can keep the lights on here, keep working. It does take, it takes a lot to do these broadcasts 3+ hours every single night. And it takes a lot to have a reporter on scene up there in Ottawa. So if you can help us, donate. freedomreporters.com is the URL, or click the hot link and go straight to the donation page. But regardless, we will be back on through the day tomorrow, and of course tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with more coverage of Rolling Thunder and the Freedom Weekend in Ottawa, Canada, where the fight for freedom continues in the face of a police crackdown and a declaration of occupation by the authorities in Ottawa tonight. I am Rick Walker. You are watching the Maverick News Channel. I am a freedom reporter, reminding you that here on the Maverick News Channel, we have the programs that are the antivirus programs for your mind. Catch you all back here tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our regular program. And tune in, watch for the notifications. We will be going live through the day as events continue to unfold in Ottawa. It looks like things are calming down now, but a lot more to report tomorrow. This thing is far